And we're back. Welcome back to Pixels and Pints. This is episode, what do we say, 13? Lucky 13. How
That's
excitement. Let's hope our computers don't all explode at once. Tonight we're going to be just drinking a whole bunch of beers and talking our usual shenanigans and absolute crap. Tonight we have Peter.
Howdy.
And we have Daniel.
Hello.
And I'm
I don't
Tom.
know who Daniel is.
No, neither do I. I don't know why I do that. It's my little brother. My little brother's name's Daniel. So
Only my grandmother ever called me Daniel, and she's no longer with us, so.
There you go. Maybe I was seancing.
What a start. Fucking hell, Tom.
At least I didn't say she was dead. I just said she was no longer with us.
And then Tom said maybe he was seancing.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. It's 13.
Pull out
Fantastic.
the Ouija board. Is it? It's... What are you talking about? 13th episode.
13th episode. It's the spooky episode.
The fourth
so
season.
we're not doing anything
That's right.
spooky of.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to go right into drinking beers. What are we all drinking? Someone's poured
Yeah, because
something.
I haven't had one today, and I want to drink this whole one. So.
Treat yourself.
What are you drinking, Dan?
This is Block Party from Garage Project.
Oh, the new one.
I'm just going to adjust this light so I can actually read it. And now I'm going to have to adjust the microphone as well. It is a New Zealand IPA. Oh, I still can't read it. No, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that.
The Waghorn A? Waghorn A?
Oh, Waghorn A. Yeah, no, it was something in the top line that's written really small. So it's got Southern Cross, there's a hops list. Southern Cross, Motueka, and Rakau. Okay. Rakau.
Yeah, Raquel.
Rakau. There we go. I thought I'd heard people saying that. Yeah, so it's a New Zealand IPA. It's 6.2%. It's a part of a new series or something like that. No, it's all blown out. Pete will have to put a photo up. It's really nice. It's got a really melony sort of start to the hop character, and then it rolls through some juicier characters, sort of very light bodied but very heavily hazy as well.
I was going to say it looks hazy.
It's so that Block Party series is pretty cool. I'm pretty sure they got the one hop farm, and each Block Party release is taken from that's one section of that farm. So they're actually moving around the hop farm as they release each one. So they've done a few of those Block Parties now.
That's a really good idea.
So it's like a single vineyard release for a lot. Most good wineries will do a single vineyard release.
That's what the top line says. I can't quite read the second word. It says the rotating. Now that I know what it says, I can read it. The rotating single block New Zealand IPA. There you go. It's quite small and it's very dark in here. And I only knew what the hops were because I read it earlier. It's got a really interesting hop profile. It's really nice, but quite different to a lot of the American hop juice bombs, Neepers. It's so it should be with being New Zealand hops. So no, it's got that nice sort of melony, winey sort of character to it, but still a lot of fruit character. It's nice, really nice.
Peter, what are you drinking?
Sweet. I am drinking Pomona's Harvest by Deeds Brewing, which is an interesting... I don't know if that's reversed for you guys or not. It is for me. It is a double-fruited cream sour at 7.7%, which is why I have short poured myself, but I suspect I'll get impatient, pour the rest of it, and end up getting pissed.
Double-fruited cream sour, so it's got lactose or something in it, does it?
I'm not sure. We pay our homage or our homage to both Pomona and Demeter by adding copious amounts of apricot, raspberry, and lime into a delectable malt beverage, offered up humbly for your consumption. May this sweet nectar remind you of days spent in the orchards, anticipating the harvest and celebrations to come. Hops is Citra, and additions apricot, raspberry, vanilla, lime, and lactose. In terms of flavor profile, a lot of lime on the nose and a little bit of apricot. Apricot's quite a difficult smell for me, I think. I find it hard to tease out in a scent.
Apricots just remind me of
scent. That's a new one for you, Pete.
Yeah, that's a good one. Put that in your vernacular.
That is a special beer. It's surprisingly not that sour at all. Like I quite often say it's not mouth puckeringly sour, but this is really light sourness even for a kettle. But you get
lactose.
Shit. Yeah,
Creamy,
you
baby.
The mouthfeel, like, it is creamy. That's certainly true, but you get mostly apricot and just a little bit of the acidity from the lime. That's a spectacular fucking sour, I've got to say.
Yeah, I might have to see if I can source that one out. I really like apricot in a lot of things, not just just beers. In like, I love fucking apricot pies. It's just one of those rare things that you'd never get. A good cherry pie. You go to the fucking Blue Mountains and get a good cherry pie and get a good apricot pie, and it's fucking awesome. So when you get it in things like beers and that, and it's done well, I really like apricot.
I really like seeing you so passionately for pies.
Well, see, I don't have a sweet tooth, so I don't eat lollies and things like that. I really go for savory sweet stuff. So when I find a really good, Louise hates it when we go on holiday, especially when we've gone to the UK and that previously. I fucking stop at every village because I have to try their local apple pie or their local scones or something like that. I whatever it is that these people,
apple strudel.
Yeah, whatever these people say they make the best of when you get into the whatever's in the front window of the local cafe or the local restaurant when you pull into a little village. Yeah. I have to get it, and I fucking make myself sick on them all the time on holidays. When we went to Switzerland, we went to when we were in Gothenburg. They make. I think I showed you, Pete. Tom,
it was on the podcast.
Oh, was it? And the fucking cinnamon scrolls the size of a dinner plate.
Yeah.
It took me 2 days to eat it, but I still ate the whole thing. And yeah, that's how far my my obsession with savory sweet stuff goes. So,
well, I'll tell you what, this drink's like tropical fruit juice, but without, the natural tropical fruit juice where it's not just all fucking sugar. That's pretty much spot on what it tastes like. You certainly get a little bit of the citra through. Well, you get a little bit of orange. Anyway, Tom, what are you drinking, mate?
I am having the Blackberry and Vanilla Sour from Bracket Brewing. This was their collab with One Drop for their first birthday. I went and got they did 4 beers released for that, so I went and got the 4 of them last week. It's probably similar, I reckon, in terms of flavoring to, not in terms of the fruit, but in the creaminess coming through as Pete's, but it doesn't have any lactose in it, but does have a really healthy vanilla kind of flavor coming through. Heaps of that, like light sour, like from the blackberries. So knowing One Drop, and I did just look it up. It is 100 grams of blackberry per can. So that's
Jesus.
how much. Yeah, they love to heavily fruit any sour that they're involved with. But yeah, it's got that nice little bit of sweetness to balance the sour, but the sour still takes over. And it's up there. It's an Imperial sour. It's 8.4. So I've started with a bang. Really just going to start flying.
I think we're all going to be pretty pissy by the end. Dan, you said yours was like 6.5%?
6.2.
Yeah, right. And mine's 7.7. And it's
I'm halfway through mine already.
Yeah. It's going to be a fun episode. Cool. Should we get on with some news?
Let's jump into some news. I like news.
I just realised I've brought up the run sheet that Tom sent through, and I've brought up the blank one.
Yeah. I emailed you an updated copy. So, Peacemaker. So, after the success/failure of Suicide Squad, it's smashing box office records at the moment.
Suicide Squad? Is it the Suicide? Which one?
It is. It is the Suicide Squad, the new one.
Yes.
New one.
I knew you meant the new one. I just didn't know which one was which.
Yeah. So, and this is, it's a kind of a, I don't know what to say here. Actually, we might have to bleep all this out. It's an advanced spoiler, but for a piece of information that we don't know yet. So,
okay.
So and it's pretty, like it's hit social media. So everybody knows they're making a Peacemaker spin-off. So Peacemaker's one of the characters in the Suicide Squad, and they're doing a spin-off series.
John Cena.
Played by John Cena?
Yeah, in his toilet seat helmet. Shiny toilet seat helmet gets referred to.
Stupid, doesn't it? But he's getting his own HBO Max TV series. So Yeah, and you've mentioned quite a few pieces of information from DC Fandom, October 16th, which is coming up. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I kind of glossed over because there's no real information beyond they're going to talk about some stuff. They're going to have some first shots from Batman.
I think it's going to be a new trailer for the new Batman.
Yep.
Well, they reckon. I saw. Totally off topic. Let's roll.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a comment on the Batman, so that's too deep a hole to go on. So,
so there's going to be some new Batman footage, which may or may not set Dan off again. We don't know. It's like stepping on a landmine and then just lifting up. Is he going to do it? No, he's not. And then they'll show some Black Adam, Flash, whatever else has got coming out. I must say, actually, I watched Tenet for the first time last night. Speaking of Patterson,
Tenet, yeah.
I hadn't seen it. Whether or not I'm late or early depends on your perception from the movie.
I haven't seen it.
So you wouldn't
see what you've done there.
Yeah,
it was quite well done.
His performance in that has actually kind of pushed me over onto him. I reckon he's going to make a sick Batman. He really impressed me in that. I never really saw him in Twilight. I think the only thing I've really seen him in was Harry Potter. I'm going to watch that Lighthouse.
He's not in Harry Potter for much, is he?
He's in a movie or two. Cedric.
And then he dies.
He doesn't stand out as a memorable character.
Well, he does. He's a memorable character.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember him, so I beg to differ.
I'm not going to get into a big Hogwarts rant, but I could, he's significant in the Goblet of Fire book and movie.
Yeah.
But yes, his performance.
I know who you're talking about, and I know what storyline you're talking about.
So you do remember?
Carry on. I do now.
In my mind, that's by far the best Harry Potter too, by the way.
Yeah,
but
Goblet of Fire. Totally fucking agree. I totally fucking agree.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. I'm not an outlier on that one then.
No.
We might all be on the same spectrum. Who knows? Tom?
Who does know? But yeah, no, he's really won me over, and I'm excited to see him as Batman now. I reckon he's going to do a sick job. I do want to watch that Lighthouse thing that he and Willem Dafoe does, but I want to get baked and watch it. I think that's the best way to go.
Yeah. I think that's the design.
Have you seen the picture of him in the lighthouse that someone recolored, or they say it's a color photo and it's him in the Mario overalls?
I love it.
You should look it up, Pete. It's really good. It
brings me immense pleasure.
Yeah, me too.
So and then I reckon they're going to show some Black Adam. We might get a trailer for that. The Rock being an angry Egyptian demigod, and then Flash. Hopefully we see some red-eyed Batman Flashpoint. Dual wielding.
Although I'm not sure if they're ready yet. I'm not sure if they're at a point where, because they haven't finished principal photography. So unless it's just a single kind of teaser shot,
I reckon we'll get Keaton. We'll get a 10-second flash of Keaton in the suit saying something because he's filmed already.
Yeah.
So I reckon they'll be. That seems to be the thing that they're pushing at the moment in a lot of the interviews and a lot of the social media. That stuff that's come up about the Flash isn't about the fucking Flash. It's about Michael Keaton returning as Batman, and they've filmed, and he's been quite vocal or quite open about saying how it was filming it and getting back into the suit and that. So I reckon if they don't, that's a enormous thing that they've missed. Yeah, because people will tune in for a 10-second flash. Play on words. A 10-second flash of Michael Keaton back in the fucking Batman suit. Even if it's just him in front of the fucking monitors in his fucking chair and swivels or turns it around and it's old Michael Keaton in the fucking Burton Batman
little song,
cave.
A little dance. Batman's head on a lance.
Batman's head on a lance. If it's just that, like if it's 10 seconds of just him turning, even if it doesn't get to a fucking front shot of him, like that's, a huge opportunity missed if they don't do it.
100%.
Totally agree.
And then going on from that, speaking all things DC, there's a new animated coming out, which is all going to be based on Injustice and that little universe they've created there between the game, and there is a comic book about it around it as well. And that comes out the weekend after. So that DC Fandom, October 16th is Saturday. So that that sour's really making me salivate. You know when you have sour lollies, it's like wow. So that's October 19th. So it's a couple of days after the Fandome.
I'm looking forward to that. I love the Injustice comics and the sequel arc of comics as well. I've talked about them extensively on the podcast a long time ago. So, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Just one last thing on DC. Sorry, Tom, if you've finished along there.
Yeah. I was just making...
Titans Season 3. Have you guys seen Red Hood's helmet?
Yes.
No. Oh, my God. It's the shittest version of Red Hood that they could have possibly made. He looks like a fucking alien. Like, it's just... It
reminded me of another... there was another character.
It's like a bad sci-fi robot head.
Yeah, wow.
It's the seam at the mouth and how they've molded the upper part of the helmet to be really wide.
I'll put it up on screen for anyone watching on YouTube. Yeah, it looks fucking terrible. It reminds me of the Necrons from Warhammer 40k.
You'll have to put a picture up of those. I can't see that screen anyway.
I'll put them up side by. Oh, I wasn't sharing. I can.
Yes, please, if you can show us that other one too. So it's just, I just don't get why that's the rest of the costume looks great.
Yeah,
it's just, but why? How do you fuck up the central element of a character? Like, oh yeah, it does a little bit.
Anyway, that's
I'll have to think of what it reminds me of. A character from some, and I don't think it's Marvel or DC. I think it might even be. I don't know. It's bugging me, but it reminds me of a game character or something or other than that. And it just, I agree. I don't think it works. But I mean, I recently watched that Harley Quinn film with Black Mask. I wasn't a particular fan of that Black Mask either.
No. Birds of Paradise. Is what you're talking about?
Birds of Paradise. Yeah.
It's not Birds of Paradise.
Birds of Paradise. I bet you guys are going to the tropics to look at some fancy feathered.
Listen, it was
feathered birds.
It was the Pride
version.
version.
One in my backyard. They were great.
Do their big mating dance.
It was a Pride version of the movie. Okay.
No, the Harley Quinn movie is the Pride version of the movie, and it's Birds of Prey. Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, but yeah, same thing. That how they fucked up. I mean, that Black Mask didn't really sell me in that. I don't know.
No, and as good as Ewan McGregor is too, that whole Sionis character didn't really sell it for me too. He seemed sinister enough, but he didn't scream mob boss to me.
I agree.
Or spoiled child.
Yeah,
than sinister mob boss. Yeah,
it didn't really feel like why. I didn't really understand why people took him so seriously. And anyway, I think he was a great choice for the character. But he needed to pay a bit more sort of mobster, hard-edged kind of thing. So, yeah,
I agree.
Bit of a missed opportunity. And it would have been a good juxtaposition too. Like his straighter, hard-edged, white suit wearing up against Harley's craziness. It just seems to be that everybody other than most of the Birds of Prey are fucking loonies in that movie. But, yeah.
I still can't get past
opportunity.
In terms of mob bosses, I cannot get past Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin in the Daredevil TV series. That was some of the best bad guy I've seen in a long time on TV. Just how
that mobster kind of character.
Yeah, and how fucking broken that guy's head is, and the dark places it took in his mind. I mean, it would never have worked as that hard, but if it had a little bit of that edge in that movie in Birds of Prey, it would have been a little bit better. I reckon it would have come across better.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Dead Space is getting a remake.
Well, look at that. It's third point. How far are we in, Pete? And we've made it 3 points down the list.
Yeah, 20 minutes in.
Kicking goals.
Well, we'd mentioned many times before that Dead Space in the last few weeks, but yeah, we got a tech demo. I only watched it this afternoon. IGN had a developer interview and the tech demo out there, and I mean they didn't show much. They just showed they're making it in the Frostbite engine, which is a good choice of engine. It's a fucking it's a beautiful engine, and it's a linear game, so they're going to be able to really hone into what matters to make that game right. And yeah, I think they'll really nail it from what we saw. And the guys that are making it, obviously they're the original crew, and they seem to be very on board with absolute paying credit to what Dead Space was.
Are they doing?
I never played it.
Is it a straight remake of Dead Space 1, or is it
It's
like a soft reboot kind of? Because all the imagery I've seen of like the comparison of the original to that one they pulled from that demo, like it all looks like the style of it is pretty much exactly the same, but whether or not it's like an actual,
it's a remake, so it's more than just a remaster. They're doing completely updated assets and using new technology. But
I meant story wise. But
I think it's the same story.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be basically the same story and mostly the same gameplay. The way he was talking in that or one of the developers was talking in that clip was, it seems to be a little bit of a reimagining and integrating of new tools. So obviously he keeps saying that games have come a long way since Dead Space. So there's been a lot of stuff that's been introduced into games that it sounds like he didn't go into any specifics whatsoever. I want to see some of the further on, because they talk about the dismemberment and how they're updating the dismemberment of the necromorphs, and then so I think that it might be along those sides, maybe different, some new weaponry or something. But I think the storyline and that they're going to stick to the same thing. Isaac might say some things now that Isaac has a voice and a personality.
Yep.
And in that original game, he was just. I really liked that. I thought that was great. I think it didn't need to. We didn't need to see Isaac or hear Isaac until the second one, which was a good change to what the first one was, and then it started to introduce us more to his personality. But that first game, without him saying anything and just basically being the good soldier going out there and doing what needed to be done, you still empathise with him, and they spoke to him like a person. They didn't talk to him just like a robot or anything like that. So I don't know. I'm torn if they give him a voice and a personality in this one. So
speaking of remakes, Tomo, Grand Theft Auto.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I saw this the other day. I thought you guys would be excited. GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas, but it sounds like they're doing not just like I wrote the HD remake, but I think it might be like ground up kind of
rebuild,
or at least putting it into like like using the GTA 5 engine, or it's not just a spit and polish. It's like updating a fair few things, but keeping it pretty.
I just think they're milking that GTA Online stuff.
100%.
I think they've.
I mean, I'm not going to get it, but I don't know. I remember the only fun I had in GTA 3 was just putting all the cheats on and getting chased by a bunch of tanks.
Well, you've just described GTA Online at the moment. Like, it's... and what have they done for that game lately?
I didn't really play it.
When was that released now? Was it the borderline between PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4? Because it came out for both simultaneously. Yep. So the game's been out for, 5-6 years, and they haven't made a follow-up. And all the content they seem to have released for GTA Online is just overruled by the amount of fucktards who are hacking. It's like it's become part of the culture of that online game. So
yeah, but you watch, when we get a PS6 eventually, there'll be a re-release of GTA 5 for that as well. Just like Skyrim, because they're about to re-release Skyrim as well. So
yeah, and GTA 5 for PS5.
As like what there isn't. Yeah, Skyrim's getting the 10-year anniversary edition, so GTA 5 won't be far behind that.
And Witcher 3 as a remake, I would totally play the fuck out of. So they're probably the only two games that have been released in the last 5 to 10 years I'd be inclined to replay in a remaster. As opposed to just go play something new, like Rustler.
Oh. Yes, Rustler. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look it up, but it's old school GTA, the top down view, but it's set in medieval times.
How do you? Up, right?
Oh, you're gonna love it.
You wouldn't be able to mow down Hare Krishnas in medieval times.
No, you get monks traveling. You just run them over in a horse and carriage, and then they're like got little like police horses that have little siren lights on them.
No.
Yeah, it's stupid. Oh, it's taking the absolute piss out of the whole genre, but it looks great.
Yeah.
But it's going back to that kind of semi 2D like top down view, and you race around. You play. They did like one of the trailers they put out was like the narrator is talking about like the guy, and you just play some.
The horses do have cop lights.
And I'm pretty sure the from memory the cop horses were like zebras or something, because they were like stripy. But yeah, it just looks silly. It looks stupid.
It looks fun.
Little indie developer came out of Gamescom, which we touch on later. But yeah, it's a bit of a slow news week.
He's doing donuts in a horse and carriage.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about a topic that we've been putting off for a couple of weeks. We started talking about it very briefly and I was very drunk during the live stream episode 11. Yeah. June.
Yep. June.
So I thought it might be, just in terms of structure, I thought it might be worth talking about the book first, and then the original film, the TV stuff, and then video games, really, and then bring us back to the current film that they're about to launch. Yeah? So
do it. Sounds like a good method.
We won't go into too much detail about the original book, just its history and why it's significant to culture. So it was published in 65. I think I mentioned this briefly. Published in 65 after it failed to get traction for years. No one wanted to read it. No one wanted to publish it. I think it was published in Analog Magazine as a periodical. And in fact, the publisher who eventually bound it into a book, because Frank Herbert was kind of pitching it as a multi-series book. I think it was a trilogy.
Yep.
And this publisher just came out of nowhere and said, no, it needs to be a single fucking book. And he wasn't even a fiction publisher. I'm pretty sure it was encyclopedias or something like, or bird books or something. Anyway.
Yeah, right.
But it tied first for a Hugo Award in 1966, Hugo being probably the most important or famous science fiction and fantasy book award. And then won the inaugural Nebula Award, which is a American-based, science fiction and fantasy book award, and it's been running for a long time. It's been running since 1966. And in 2003 was cited as the world's best-selling science fiction novel of all time. So pretty significant. And if you look at, the actual core story, and Dan was trying to talk about this, I think, when we were all too drunk, it is a political intrigue storyline, almost political, like Game of Thrones, but set in a science fiction-y world. And I would say that's a absolute fantastic analogy,
explanation of it. But the only thing that's different, so me not being very up on Game of Thrones, the only difference there is they're not fighting over a throne. There is a throne, but the throne is seated.
Yeah. Look, there's lots of variables as well, but I think in terms of political intrigue, complicated storylines, house families, old feudal style storylines, that is very much what Dune is set in space. And I have trouble thinking that George R.R.R.R. Martin could ever have written Game of Thrones if it hadn't been for kind of the way that it had been paved in Dune, or at least draw inspiration from. But he ended up writing 6 books total. So there's, there's 6 in the series. I think Children of Dune is the 3rd. And then...
Yeah, Dune Messiah, Children of Dune, God Emperor of Dune, Heretics of Dune, and Chapter House. And then it went on to his son and Kevin Anderson.
And they've written another 15 books, and they've got one more coming out this year. I don't know how many more they've got planned, but they're still writing new Dune content, which is pretty incredible considering 66. It's a long fucking time ago. Which kind of brings us to the first movie. So
keep whipping that cash cow.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you're creating, fucking says the guy wearing a Star Wars hat. Like,
hey, I do not disagree.
If you're onto a good property and it's complicated and interesting, then why the fuck not?
Yeah, I'm never going to read the Brian Herbert, Kevin Anderson ones, just for the major thing that you just said. There's just fucking far too many of them. Same as there's no way I'm ever going to read all the Star Wars books. I'm going to pick and choose the ones that I want to read in that. It's a little bit different because they're different time frames and they follow different things. You don't have to read them in order. But because I've been doing a little bit more of a deep dive on Dune of recent, there's a little bit of backlash, I guess, from the original Frank Herbert fans of that series, where there's going to be spoilers here, that Brian Herbert and Kevin Anderson actually brought back in artificial intelligence and kind of made it to be the bad guy all along, that the artificial intelligence was weaving these seeds all the way back from the beginning.
I can see why there's backlash.
Yeah, and Frank Herbert seemed to be very much against that. Like, he goes out of his way to create the machine-human jihad that happened decades or hundreds of years before the first book of Dune. So I can see why there is backlash.
That's the whole point
there.
of the mentats, right? They were basically biological computers to replace
human computers.
So that's
exactly.
a core part of it.
And they found.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it. The mentats and the Spacing Guild flight. God, what are they
Navigators.
called? The navigators, the navigators. That's the whole reason for them.
It's extremely similar to the astropaths in Warhammer 40k. I think I might have said that last time too. Is that the ships can only navigate the warp storm in 40k or the interstellar space for fast and light travel in the Dune universe using people with telepathic powers. Yeah,
well, they can avoid obstacles in space. Is what the spacing navigators do. That's their spice. Their mutation through the spice is to avoid obstacles. It's the drive that creates the faster than light. But I guess they
navigators,
are telepaths. But the navigators. But he does go out of his way to almost point out the fact in the original books that none of the people are telepathic. The Bene Gesserit and even Paul in the first book, because he's got the mentat and the Bene Gesserit training, that he can see all the paths through analyzing all the given data rather than actually being a
telepath himself,
a future seeing telepathic prophet kind of thing.
Right. So he's not a seer. He's not the first male Bene Gesserit.
He is, yes. The Bene Gesserit they're all females up until Jessica decides to have a son to the Duke.
Yeah. Because they're supposed to kill or miscarry or something, like abort male babies, the Bene Gesserit, to keep the bloodline female and pure or something. I don't know, it's been a long time.
Until the church, until the Bene Gesserit sisterhood decides that they are at the culmination of their inter-house breeding program, to a point where and it's only meant to be a couple of generations on from Paul. So his Jessica was meant to have a daughter, and then I think that daughter was then meant to have a son that could be married off to the daughter on the Harkonnen side and bring the House Atreides and House Harkonnen together. And then that boy would have been the Kwisatz Haderach, which is the Bene Gesserit male that can see both the female and male paths through
Very
the
good Arabic pronunciation there, Dan.
Oh man, that guy's got so many names.
I can almost guarantee you it is drawn, like the inspiration for that naming system is drawn from Arabic.
100%.
Middle Eastern feudal systems.
Yeah, and I mean, this is one of the confusing things that I think they'll touch on. I mean, they touched on it in the original movie a little bit, but I mean, Paul's got 4 different names basically. He's got Paul Atreides, Muad'Dib, which is his Fremen name, the Kwisatz Haderach, which is the Bene Gesserit prophesized male child, and then the Mahdi, which is the Messiah of the.
But it is a Jesus story. I mean, Paul Atreides is a Jesus of kinds. He's the prophesized son to bring peace to the universe, even though he was born out of order, and there's a whole lot of political intrigue around that as well. So yeah, look, we got the original film in '84. It's that old now that I don't recognize most of the people in it. There were some people I recognized in the original movie, but
fucking Patrick Stewart.
Like I said, there's a few, but you read through the list and like Kyle MacLachlan plays Paul Atreides, the most important character in it, and I don't remember him from anything. I don't know the name that well.
Oh fuck yeah, he's around in tons of things.
Well, maybe it's just
he's still around these days. He's in Australia at the moment to film something new.
Well, it's just my knowledge then. It's just a gap in my knowledge. They did a miniseries in 2000, which did a much better-ish job. It was a low-budget, pretty hard-to-watch drama TV series, but it did a better job of explaining the story in a way that you can understand, because it's fucking complicated. And then followed up with Children of Dune in 2003. The original
with James McAvoy.
Yeah, really young there too. It's fucking funny to watch. But I think the first miniseries covers the first 2 books.
Does it? It finishes... No, the second one, Children of Dune, covers Dune Messiah and Children of Dune. So the second, Children of Dune, I think, again, is a 3-parter, and I think the first 2-hour part is Messiah, and then the second 2-hour parters are Children.
Right. Okay.
From memory. But yeah, I think I'm more than sure that because the first 3-part TV series finishes with Paul taking control of Arrakis and marrying the Emperor's daughter. Sorry, spoilers again.
It's been out for a while. I think it's okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I mean, the new movie's coming up. And I mean, they're not going to cover all this in the new movie anyway.
It's a movie based on a book. People, I mean, there's more spoilers just by reading the fucking book.
Yeah. So I think that first series was only the first book.
And then we get into the video games. Tom, have you watched any of these?
I did say last episode that we recorded that I was going to try and watch the series.
Right. I couldn't find it or anything.
I didn't.
I can find.
To be honest, I forgot about it.
I can find Children of Dune. I think on binge, but I couldn't find the original.
No, but I think I said to you guys last time that I've seen the original movie, but years ago, and I don't really remember it. So I'm kind of the one coming into this with fresh eyes, which I think the new movie, it looks sick. And it's one of the movies that, this is a weird memory to have, but I always remember when I worked at the video store, it was one of the movies you always saw in the sci-fi section. It was like the top left-hand corner. It was one of it was always, instead of being like spine out, it was always cover out. I don't know if like the owner
loved the movie
loved
or
it
something
that much that he put it that way, but every time, because I had to walk past the sci-fi section to get to the back office, and every time I'd be like, oh yeah, Gene, yep, there it is, still there. Okay.
If I remembered I remember the artwork for the VHS being
purple and red.
Yeah, it is. I'm just looking at the cover. Yeah, it's very very eye catching. It draws your eye in with the long line of lights behind Paul.
But I think it's going to be interesting. Like the actual storyline's got so many interesting elements interwoven. You've got the political intrigue of the houses. The mutations kind of make them alien in a lot of ways. You've got the Bene Gesserit who are seers and can see into the future, which has got its own interests. Like it's almost a magic, if you like. It's high tech. There's a high technology theme through it. But then you've got the Freemen who are almost Aboriginal, something like an Aboriginal tribal system with a Middle Eastern spin on it. And these people have come to the planet to mine a natural resource and displace the free people there. So you have kind of a traditional colonization story going on as well. And then, of course, you have the fucking spice worms, which are just the big bad, but maybe not so bad, more just, they're not... they're not malevolent. They're not malevolent. They're a natural predatory species on the planet that's tied somehow to the spice. You got to remember, the entire universe is using the spice for their magical, mystical powers. So an animal that has evolved on a planet that created spice is obviously going to have some sort of mystical connection. So really interesting, intricate story.
There's also an interesting element that's in the book that isn't in... It might get mentioned in the TV series, but I don't remember it because I think I was too young to register this. But there is a corporation that runs the universe, the Chom Corporation, and even the Emperor has to work with the Chom.
It's like Wayland.
And it's an acronym, Tom. It stands for something, and I'm not even going to try and remember what it stands for because it's something fucking weird.
Was it something about the spice, like put into like some pate and it was so chunky you could carve it? Like that's all when you said Chom.
Chom. It's like CHOAM or something like that. And
yeah, right.
It's and then everybody is at the mercy of the Spacing Guild because everybody needs the Spacing Guild to move between planets at like long distances, and if they don't have the Spacing Guild and they don't pay them what the Spacing Guild asks for, then they don't get where they want to get.
They get cut off.
And they get cut off. So there is a definitely a
like the Hutts controlling the hyperspace
so-
lanes. Let's put into terms that I
That's
understand.
exactly
Yeah,
what it's like.
So
yeah.
the Combine, Honnet, Ober, Advancer, Mercantiles, or COME, essentially controls all economic affairs across the cosmos, although it relies on the Spacing Guild for transport across space due to the Guild's monopoly on fast and light travel. So lots of interlocking pieces to this puzzle, and that's undoubtedly why it is listed as the world's best-selling sci-fi. There's just so many intricate pieces to it that make it an interesting, complex universe. And then you get into the games. So in 1992, for some reason, we get both Dune and Dune 2. So I don't know how they're...
Talk about crunch. We're trying to weave that out of the video game industry, and they're making them turn out sequel in the same year. Jesus Christ.
Probably where it started.
Wasn't quite the first ever real-time strategy. I think I might have misquoted that, but it's credited as one of the very first, and the guy who produced Dune 2 was the first person to ever coin the term real-time strategy as a marketing mechanism to sell the game. They did Dune 2000 in 98, which is
just a remake of Dune 2.
Yeah, it is. But it used... So Dune 2 used pieces of full motion video as one of the first games with FMV cutscenes and all voice acting for all major characters, and used cutscenes from the original 84 film. So... And it's kind of a partial dungeon crawler. It's got a full dungeon crawler engine in it. And the real-time strategy game, and they're completely separated, but they live inside the same time. So if you spend an hour crawling around the dungeon, then you've lost an hour in the RTS game, and vice versa, but you're doing completely different tasks.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, really interesting. And then you had Emperor Battle for Dune, which was almost a remake again. And then the last...
I do not remember that at all.
Which...
The dungeon crawler.
Yeah, if you look at the screenshots, you'll remember instantly, because you kind of, which I'll bring up on the screen while no one else that's listening to this can see.
Because Gimli, the guy who played Gimli, was in the full motion video. That wasn't until June 2000.
John Rhys Davies.
You were talking about that. John Rhys Davies, yes. Yeah. He was the Atreides Mentat.
The Atreides Mentat. Not the guy with the
so
weird
he's the
little
one that gave
beak.
you each mission.
Yeah, I think you're right. It
June
is
2000.
2000. June 2, still had kind of poxy-ish graphics.
It's definitely 2000.
Anyway, so, and then they made a really, really, really bad first-person shooter called Frank Herbert's Dune, I think. I've got it written down. I don't know why I have to think. Released in 2001, and it's just the most feral-looking poxy cell shaded first person shooter that is running at like 4 frames a second. It was horrendously bad.
Was it like based on like the Doom engine or anything?
No. Way worse than that, mate.
I think it was after that.
Yeah, it was after that,
well.
but the draw distance was so far. You're in a desert, and it just clunked really badly. It was.
Oh, it looks shit. I'm just looking at the cover art.
It
Jesus Christ.
It was ugly to fucking play.
That. The PlayStation 2 version was only released in Europe. Fun fact. Thanks, Wikipedia.
And then we get to the current movie, right? It's got fucking like an all-star cast. I started writing down the major characters, or the major actors in it, and it's just like I may as well just copy and paste the whole fucking IMDb list. I have to admit, I don't know who Timothy Chalamet. I'm guessing that's the pronunciation, but who's playing
name.
Paul Atreides. But you got Zendaya, you've got Jason Momoa. You've got Dave Bautista, who played Jack. Why do I want to say Drax? Thank you.
I'm actually confused who Dave Bautista's playing. Who is he playing?
The Harkonnen, one of the Harkonnen leads. So the bad guys.
Yeah. So he's not. Who's playing the Baron?
The ginger. Fucking, I can't remember his name now. Sorry.
Okay, I'll look at you. You keep going.
Sorry,
I'll look
Dan,
it up.
Not you. Josh Brolin, Oscar Isaac. These are very fucking famous people. Very, very good actors too. So I'm really looking forward to it. And actually, we don't know that much about the movie other than it's kind of a retelling of the original story, but we don't really know how much of a retelling yet.
Okay, so Dave Bautista is playing Rabin, who is, before the Atreides got sent to Dune, he was the one running Arrakis for the Harkonnen family, and he gets put back in after they take back over.
Yep.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, Stellan Skarsgård as Baron.
Ah, yes, it is too.
And he looks,
that's a fucking excellent
and he looks
choice.
amazing. So he's the kind of nutty-ish old scientist from Thor, running around in the minivan with the girls. So he's a great actor too. Like I said, like an all-star cast. So I'm really looking forward to this movie. Just because I know how cool the storyline can be if told well, and you've got all-star cast, and the visual aesthetic from this film looks spectacular too. So I think it'll finally be in a position to do the story justice. Anyway, we should talk about second beers. That's all I had to say on Dune, Dan, unless you wanted to add some more.
No, I think the people that they've chosen for those characters is excellent. The Dave Bautista one confused me because he was too mobile to be playing the Baron, and I hadn't looked up who he was playing, but playing a Rowan, it makes perfect sense. Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho, and Josh Brolin as Gurney Halleck. They're fucking excellent choices. Absolutely excellent choices. And they have such screen presence, and with their age, and I mean, I know Momoa's not old, but the age difference between him and Paul Atreides, they're the ones that train him. So they are perfect as mentors, and they have such screen presence.
And the quips and interplay in the trailer really kind of tie off that relationship too. He's like the really friendly uncle mentor kind of character who takes the piss out of him.
And exactly, and that's how that plays out in the book too. Not in such a modern way as it does in the trailer, but you definitely get in that book that they push him hard because they know he's got to be the Baron one day, not the Baron, the Duke, and they know he's got to lead, but they also love him like
family,
like his own. They're his son as well, and they don't want to let him down. And you get that. You'll get that from those characters. Just because they're amazing actors, and I think even Oscar Isaac as the Duke is a fantastic choice as well. He has that very
regal,
presence about him, and you can see him speaking very well and very almost Shakespearean. So I think that all those ones are excellent.
I think they've picked a good character for.
Get a look at his beard too. Jesus,
Momoa.
Talk about envy. No, Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
What a luscious bed you want to lie down in. Jesus.
I think even the character, the look of Timothy McMahon playing Paul Atreides, I think is a good balance between
Timothy.
It's not McMahon, sorry.
Timothy McMahon. Do you want to try that one again?
I've lost it now.
Chalamet.
Thank you.
Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet. I don't know where McMahon came from. That was another name I was looking at earlier.
And he's the right age as well. Well, I don't know if he's actually the right age. He looks like he's the right age.
He's got that youth look about him, but he's also got that regal, noble. You can easily see him dressing up to that role.
Is it because he kind of also looks like a bit like he's a grown-up sickly child? Like that's that kind of like regalness. Like, sorry, Chalamet, but you do have that kind of sickly child look about you.
Okay.
But like in the book, in the first few pages where he meets the Reverend Muller, I think he's 15 or something in the book, and there's a lot of internal monologue in the book, and her internal monologue says he even looks small for his age, kind of thing. So I think that whole sickly child thing is probably a play for how they've sort of dressed him up for this first segment on it, and then
he's definitely
his screen presence will
and
change.
He's definitely been dressed to look younger than he is because the actor is 26 at the moment. So he's not a teenager, but they definitely dress him down to look like that, and he does have that young face, very drawn, very gaunt. It's almost like a model
sickly child. Thank you. You're welcome. I called it.
Beers. Let's talk about the beers. Are we all in our second?
I am cracking mine, so you guys can go first.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, Dan, you can go first because you've almost finished yours.
Yeah, I have a very, I won't call it a healthy obsession with brown ales when they're very, very good brown ales. And Trent at Quaker Cellars knows this. So
He's got you.
I hadn't had the new version of Akasha's Water Buffalo, and it's everything it should be. It's a beautiful, light bodied with some nice dark malt astringency, bitterness to it. It's got that really light, chocolatey, roasty character, but just it's there, it's present, it's dominant, but it's not overpowering, and it all sinks very nicely into it. And I would quite happily sit there and just drink a case of this. It's just it's luscious.
I'm the same. I love a good brown
beautiful.
ale.
Yeah.
My most recent favorite one would have to be the New England Brewing Co. They do their Grandad Brown.
Yeah, I had that at Gab.
Yeah, and they did a rebrand of it, and they'd had it was kind of semi-seasonal, and now it's I think it's part of like their yearly seasonal ones that comes out twice a year. But that is a cracking brown ale. I love brown, all about it.
I've grown into that style through this podcast because I would never have gone for a brown ale before the podcast.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, so I'm drinking Batch Brewing's Hazy Pale Ale, which is that 4.0? I don't want to tip the can. I'll end up pouring it everywhere. 4.0%, which is good. It's probably what I needed right now, to be honest. Full
Little settler.
Full-bodied and pillowy soft, this hazy pale ale has a zesty hop aroma with flavors of exotic tropical fruits. This one's got haze for days. Doesn't say what hops it uses, but I'm sure you know, Tom.
No.
Did I put you on the spot? No?
That is solid beer. I don't want to look it up. I'm not on the clock right now. I'm not going to go and do extra work.
Tell you what, it is full of haze protein, so it pours like a NEPA, but it's definitely not a NEPA. And I really appreciated that. After wondering what the separation might be before I cracked it, as soon as I took my first sip, I can answer the question. It just doesn't have that ridiculous punch in the mouth tropical fruit juice that you get out of a traditional NEPA. It's still hoppy, but it has
not that one, but you can get some very tropical punch in your face hazy pales.
And it has, and I don't know if it's because I put it in after that dark fruited beer and heavily double fruited sour, but you certainly get kind of tropical juice on the nose, but the actual flavor profile, you expect the hop hit that you traditionally get out of a NEPA, and it just doesn't come. It's a lot lighter in mouth feel. I don't know if that's the right terminology to use. It just doesn't fill your face with flavor, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what you'd expect out of a pale ale compared to an IPA as a hazy pale versus a NEPA. So, yeah.
That's been my standard fridge filler when I take some beers from work. It's
and at 4%,
I grab a 4-pack of that, or all the shorties, and
yeah, and at 4%, you can drink 4 of them and get half a can of the other one I cracked. So,
yeah,
it's good.
It's a good walking the
dog beer. What are you drinking, Tom?
Actually, well, before I get into that, I have a little life hack for all our lovely listeners and viewers out there. If you take your dog or cat or child for a walk in the afternoon, when I take Jasper for a walk in the afternoon, I usually take a beer or two.
I'm not sure it's responsible to walk your child on the street with a beer in your hand. I think most people would frown on you.
Children with leashes all the time.
With leashes, maybe.
Yeah, there's little leash packs.
With a fucking stubby in your hand, though, I think people would look at you pretty badly. That's just a prediction.
No, mate. Move to the inner west. It's everywhere. Everyone's doing it, so it's definitely not frowned upon out here.
I do have to say, friend of the podcast who will remain unnamed lives very close to me, and I saw him walk past my house one day with a dog on a leash in one hand and a child on a leash in the other hand.
There you go.
Double leash.
And I sent him a message and said, "Is it legal to walk your child on a leash like that?"
Well, it would have been better.
Did he say yes? Because he probably is.
Is it a small dog or a big dog?
It's a reasonable size dog.
Would have been funny to have the kid walking the dog on a leash and then the kid on the leash with dad. So you've got this long string.
Walks by the parent, yeah.
Oh, no, one was definitely out the front and one was definitely lagging behind. Right. So, yeah.
Cool. Tom, what are you drinking, mate? No,
Sorry.
not at all.
No, it's all right. You just cut off my story. That's fine. So as I was saying, if you want to take a beer or two, you don't have anywhere really to put it. Put it in the hoodie pocket, but it shakes it up.
A jacket for your dog?
Life hack.
I didn't.
he does have several jackets. We don't wear him when he walks because he gets overheated. That's just cruelty to animals. But the life hack is take a nitro beer, put it in your back pocket. By the time you're ready to crack it as your second beer, it's all perfectly shaken up. Beautiful.
I was going to say, or you can get...
You're welcome, everybody.
So maybe not the jacket, but I know for a fact that I've seen harnesses made out of like the typical harness material for dogs with two fucking pockets on the side that you could easily put beers in.
Oh, yeah, you can. Yeah. I've looked at it. But Jasper definitely shake that beer up more than I would anyway. Anyway, I'm drinking Knock on Wood from Deeds Brewing. It's their barrel-aged Pilsner. I literally picked it up because I had the Mighty Mighty Boss Stones playing in my head when I saw the can. Never had to knock on wood. And that just made me sing the song the entire way home as I bought it from the bottle shop. What does it say here? That they lager this beer for a month in the tank, and then they rack the whole batch into specially selected white wine barrels to spend 90 days on oak. And you get a crisp, oaky experience that celebrates the Pilsner style. And I'm knowing Deeds, I'm sure it's going to live up to what it says on the can, but I'll let you know in 20 seconds.
We're all just going to wait the 20 seconds now, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get heaps of white wine. Wow.
White wine or just the vanilla-y oak kind of...
No, like that... No, like that, I'm a horrible sommelier or Cicerone. I can't use descriptive words, but it's that, like that, it's that wine like...
Dry tartness?
Not bitterness. Yeah, dryness. Like the Sauv Blanc cat piss. I hate to say that, but it's, I'm thinking, when I'm drinking it, I'm thinking a crisp white wine. It's Christmas. There you go. Christmas.
Yeah, okay.
Get a bit of, like, there is definitely the oak there. It's not as over. I get more of that white wine character, but it is
because typically oak's going to add layers of complexity rather like separated layers of flavors. I find, but it doesn't sound like it in this case. It's picked up too much of the wine and not enough of the oak. But then 90 days isn't long to sit in a barrel either, is it?
Yeah, 3 months. It's not bad.
It's a decent amount of time.
Yeah, three to 6 months. They reckon after 3 to 4 months
just
you're not going to pick up much more.
Well, that's the thing. That could also be just my palate getting heaps more of that wine. Like, I'm not a big wine drinker, so whenever I get those wine characteristics, I think that sticks out like a sore thumb for me. But and it's been sitting out here for an hour, so it's a little bit warmer.
Yeah, true. So you guys wanted to? Sorry to cut you off there. Are you ready to move on?
No, you're right.
We're never going to get. I rue the day that we get back down to less than 2 hours an episode, but I don't think it's going to happen this episode either. You guys want to...
Why? The people love us. Give them more what they want.
Fair.
Let's do minimum 4-hour episodes every time.
You guys wanted to do a review of Bad Batch, which I haven't watched, so I'm not going to go because, like, it's spoilers, but I don't care. But I have nothing to add, so
fair.
Continue.
I mean, there's only a little bit of spoiler. It's not like...
I don't care anyway.
There's nothing...
I really don't.
But it's nothing. I mean, you know how Order 66 plays out. That's where it starts. Episode 1. Bad Batch is with with a Jedi general running a clone squadron.
Which Jedi general?
It is the master of Kanan Jarruk from Rebels. Okay. So
you made it sound like it was a secret. Like, or that you were hiding, like you're withholding it to avoid a spoiler.
It's one of the first times you see that Jedi Master on screen as well.
I think it's one of those ones that she accidentally has been killed off 4 or 5 times in across the across the.
It's a red shirt. It's a red shirt Jedi.
Star Wars universe. Yeah. One of those ones where if she was live action, they go the cheap route of making her look different, that she's just got like some prosthetics stuck on the temples of her head. Like they just went the cheapest route because she's going to be in it for 30 seconds and then that's it.
I don't even have a surname.
It's literally the over the last week rewatching Lord of the Rings with Emma, because I finally cracked those 4K versions I got. And you really pick up on some more stuff in the background that you might not see, and the amount of the same orc that I see die multiple times in those things. I'm just like, yeah, there he is again. Oh, he survived. He survived the first battle in Helm's Deep, and he's somehow wound up, working instead of working for Isengard, he's now working for Sauron. Yep, sure, okay, definitely.
There's a lot of that.
Oh no, he's at this tower too. Okay, cool. Yep. So
yep.
Well, there's no video game premise for that as well, where the you meet up with the same orc general in Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War. You think you've killed them, you've driven a sword literally through their guts, and they turn up next time with a stitched up belly or something. So
that was let's not get into that. We're talking Bad Batch. It was literally for me. It was Filoni going, "Hey, I want to make the A Team in the Star Wars universe, and I want to pay homage to a whole bunch of 80s action like hero tropes." The fact that Hunter basically looks like Rambo was never lost on me. To the point where he's even got the bandana going. You've got the dark and brooding sniper who doesn't really. He gets on with the team and he counts them as their brothers, but he's always a bit, because he spends all his time up, surveying from the hills and looking from afar. You got the massive meathead and then the tech guy. It's just like, it was perfect. It was every single stereotype you wanted. It was great. Like, I loved it for that reason alone.
Yeah, awesome.
But it's a good, solid series. Like,
consistent arc, or is it individual stories like Clone Wars? Because that's what I always struggled with Clone Wars. I know there is an overall arc in Clone Wars as well, but it's very episodic.
No, it's definitely episodic as well, but it's always them moving to the next point in
the overall
something.
arc. Yeah.
Yeah, you do get a couple.
It's a long play. There is a long play going through the entire thing, but there is a few episodes which are kind of the Monster of the Week episode kind of thing. Like they go, or Planet of the Week. They go just here.
Hey, you owe me money, so you've got to go and do this job for me before I give you this piece of information where you can continue on with
the MacGuffin,
your primary mission kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is it a long series? Is it 18 to 24 episodes, or is there 8 or?
I think it's
12?
that long.
Okay.
No, it's 12,
pretty short for a cartoon.
Low to mid-teens.
Sorry, an animated series. Can't say cartoon anymore.
Yeah, that's all it is. It was on a Saturday morning, so for me,
better enjoyed with cereal in a bowl.
Saturday morning cartoons, yeah.
Fucking 100%. That's where I'd keep it too. Saturday morning.
Yeah,
and they got to once you got those sort of filler, and they were fleshing out characters. Those filler episodes were fleshing out a couple of the characters. Mainly the young clone child that's with them is Omega. And it's mostly fleshing out her personality and making her fit into the team more, and giving her more skills, because she comes from Camino, very unskilled. So giving her, I say this in very
air quotes,
white quotation marks, real world skills, and developing her character that way before they get to the end block. The arc at the end of which took up the last sort of 5 or 6 episodes.
So there's about 16 episodes. I just looked up. 16 episodes, but the last 6 is kind of like this team is now established and they've developed Omega enough that they can go, cool, let's go into like the overarching plot that they've been kind of hinting at every other episode. Let's nail that now.
Yeah, okay. Did it deliver by the end?
Which is the slow move. Yeah. So it's the slow 100%. Move from the like moving away from clones to the conscripted troopers of the Empire. Yep. So it's like that kind of transition period as well. And
for a Peter animated series, it is aimed at, I wouldn't say it's aimed at kids. I would definitely say it's definitely aimed at people like us. There is elements in there that kids will
appreciate,
associate with and appreciate. But I mean, you get to a point where they hit the inside of a transport which has got people rebelling from a planet trying to get off. They hit the inside of that with a flamethrower. They execute a whole bunch of people on a planet that they're trying to get away from the Empire, and then just straight up execute it.
Yeah, wow.
There's no sugarcoating it. It's just an execution.
Fuck.
And it's
well,
really
that's been the
lays
development
the
of the Clone Wars series. When you look at the first 2 seasons of Clone Wars, it was trying to grab that younger audience, but then they realized that their fan base was
older,
mid-20s up. It was older Star Wars fans. They were like, well,
they struck a pretty good balance. But
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. They definitely matured some of the episodes, but they still kept them.
But you're right, though.
Light enough that kids could enjoy them.
It was still Saturday morning cartoon style, but it wasn't Nickelodeon channel after the first season.
No.
It's funny. I've been watching. To change the subject for a second, and I'm the one that always worries about time. I've been watching Star Trek Lower Decks, which is a animated series that's been out for a while. I think we're up to season 2 already, and I'd never seen it on Amazon Prime. And as a time filler kind of series of 20-minute, 30-minute episodes, it's fucking hilarious, and it's very much on point for the Star Trek universe, but it is a lot darker. Like, they swear.
Yeah.
I mean, they bleep out the F word, but still, I mean, it'd be the first Star Trek property I think I've ever seen where they've sworn like that. There's guts and gore and chopping parts off, and fucking funny as hell too. Kind of reminds me of Rick and Morty in the Star Trek universe almost, but just not quite that wacky.
Not quite that bad, yeah.
How good.
Yeah, I'd agree.
You need to turn it back
fun.
from Rick and Morty levels if you want to,
I love that series too, man. I just finished the latest season. It's
too.
such a good series. Did you have anything else to add on Bad Batch, or were we going to go for a break?
Yeah, go Tom.
I was going to say that it just brings in a bunch of, like, connects to a bunch of the other properties as well really smoothly. It doesn't really feel... I think the only one that really felt forced was Fennec Shard being chucked in there, but I think they're just trying to establish her. She's Ming-Na Wen in Mandalorian, Boba Fett's, sidekick.
Yeah.
So she gets kind of... I felt that was a bit of a shoehorning into 2 episodes, but it ended up being a really cool showdown between her and Cad Bane. So I think it was just trying to more establish her as a existing, like, across the, from the Order 66 period to the Mandalorian period, she was active, I guess, just giving her some more backstory, and which I can appreciate. And then, but I was thinking, Dan, it's probably like the way they're kind of going. So, Pete doesn't care about spoilers, but spoilers for anyone else. A lot of it deals with obviously clones and cloning, which leads to it seems like they're making connection from Revenge of the Sith to Rise of Skywalker in terms of Palpatine coming back. And they're establishing this early. So the season finishes with one of the cloners from Camino being recruited by the, growing empire. But the doctor that she gets kind of shacked up with to run this cloning arm of their development thing is wearing the same uniform that the doctor is wearing from Mandalorian season 1, the dude with glasses, who's, doesn't get killed when he's like, wants to protect Goga. So it's like, it's the same program. So they're going to make a season 2. So we might see more leading into that. Well, which would be kind of cool.
And you can also see, you're right. Because we've all assumed, and we've been led to assume, that the clones that you see in Mandalorian season 2 are of Snoke more than the Emperor, but you can see it all leads into the Emperor being cloned at the end of Rise of Skywalker. So it's all very interlocked. That's cool.
Yeah, which is definitely what Filoni's trying to do. He's
the MCU of Star Wars.
Yeah, but they've got a team that are now doing that. They're trying to. They've had what they've called the Destiny side things, or like the non-canon stuff now. Like that kind of, there were things that went off the path that I guess you would have wanted Star Wars to go, and they're trying to rein that back in, but still bring that creativity into it. So it's good to see that. And then there were just plenty of little nice connections. Having Rex pop up, but he's undercover now. You had Gregor, who was one of the clone commandos. Some little throwback things that we picked up to the Republic Commando game, seeing some of the squad into that. But I was thinking it definitely feels like the Clone Commando books. This is the closest we're going to get to seeing them on screen. Like it feels like Skatara's squad is there, and that's what they've turned 99 into, which I wouldn't put past Filoni to be doing. I'm sure he's a fan of those books. So
yeah, I reckon we're going to get some. Well, I wouldn't say definitely, but I would like to see the Mandalorian genome link come in at some stage, and have them all, the Mandalorians come in or them find the settlement on not on Mandalore, because they changed that style of planet in New Canon, but on a planet, Concord Dawn or something like that, where they bring the Mandalorian people into it more.
I've said to Dan multiple times in messages when we've been talking about episodes that I'm calling it now, that the Bad Batch ship They're going to have it's at some point it's going to be flying, and the silhouette is going to be the inspiration for the Rebel symbol. It's all about there are little things about the burgeoning like Rebel Alliance coming too, but when you look at it, it's like a really rough cutout of it, and I can just see it happening. It's going to be flying over like some little rebel camp, and they're going to be like, "That's our sign," and next thing you know, it's there.
Well, that's also why I mentioned Concord Dawn, because Sabine Wren and the Wren clan was from Concord Dawn. Yeah. So that's what makes me think that kind of made me think that might be something that they bring in on that Mandalorian side of it as well.
Yeah.
And I'm once again talking about it in messages after watching episodes. Omega Pete, which is the young female clone in it. She's an unaging clone, so she was actually born, hatched, grown in the same lab as the Clone Force 99, the Bad Batch. And she was actually around before the Bad Batch, but she's still a child, and they're fully grown, matured clones. So my assumption is that she might. Well, my speculation is that she might make an appearance in live action in the Book of Boba Fett, because she would be his sister, genetically similar sister, twin sister. And I think that would be a pretty cool thing to
I'm pretty sure there was a little throwaway line where they were like, she's Omega, but he was Alpha. Like, he was named Alpha before he was called Boba by Jango. I remember something about that.
Yeah, there was something in the couple of those last episodes there somewhere.
It's a cool little neatness to it.
That'd be cool. Yeah. Yeah. Must be good to know that she survived that long and that went on to do her things.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be cool.
Cool. Yep. All right. Well, I think we're going to take a quick break. And we'll be back after our sponsors' messages.
That's all those sponsors.
Like we have any sponsors.
That's actually the Thunderbirds theme is my dad's ringtone when he calls me. We used to wake up 6:30 a.m. on a Saturday morning to watch Thunderbirds.
How does it go, Tom?
That's great.
It was
Roger. It's not fucking bad for a trumpet.
Oh, my dad's a trumpeter, so I'm used to that sound in the house.
Yeah,
so.
right. Yeah. This reminds me of fucking Roger Ramjet. That's the theme song that plays in my head most days.
Roger Ramjet, he's our man. Isn't that how it goes?
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That's about all I
remember.
Fighting
for our freedom.
Oh, yeah.
Flies for in and out of space, not to join them, but to beat them.
Now buy war bonds.
Roger Ramjet, he's our man. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're back, and
we are back.
Like we all smoked a fucking smoked a blunt in the break.
It all started from the countdown.
Yeah, that's it. Let's talk trailer trash, shall we?
Trailer trash. That's going to be the intro I'm going to record for it. It's going to be
cool.
I'll get some banjo in the background. Ding 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 ding
ding ding. I think that's copyrighted, but yeah.
Nah, maybe I'll go back to the guys for long enough now, surely.
Maybe I'll go back to the company that made our intro music and get them to do like an electric banjo fucking version of the intro music, just over 10 seconds for the segment. We got some good movies with some trailers, just not many, which is good because we're at like 14 hours so far this episode. So Spider-Man No Way Home.
Fuck, you always say that. It's been an hour. Calm down. People love us. They love my voice. Don't you people? You people love my
sultry sounds.
Spider-Man No Way Home. It's one trailer I can't show on the video version of the podcast, unfortunately, and I couldn't figure out why. You guys kept naming movies that I can't see in my trailer list. We're now a registered. The organization is a registered press company. Yeah, and it wasn't until I couldn't find Venom. I wanted to show Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Couldn't find it. Couldn't find Spider-Man. Couldn't find a few other properties. It's because Sony Motion Pictures don't participate in the electronic press kit company that we're a member of. Yeah, so it's very frustrating.
They've got to be different because they don't need as much fucking press as what they can get because
it's Sony. But yeah, so in order for us to have access to their trailers, I actually have to apply directly to Sony and justify our position in the press. It's just fucking stupid.
Not worth it.
Is there a magic eye in the magic IPA
Yeah, there's a magic eye on the label.
Because
Really?
you can peel the label off to make
sick.
it flat. So I don't think I've got enough light in here to do it, but
I do.
you do. And there's gonna be like
There you are,
30 seconds.
Peter.
You're gonna have to do the filler, Pete, because me and Tom are gonna be concentrating and trying to get the magic eye.
That's fine. So Spider-Man No Way Home looks fucking awesome. It looks like they're taking some pretty cool risks with the storyline, which I think is
Oh,
cool.
yeah, shit, I see it.
It's good. It's good video content. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
so do I. Yeah.
It's a sailboat. It's fucking
It's not a sailboat, it's a schooner.
It's the
it's the sun.
It's the picture that's on the other side of the label.
So you looked at
A
the
schooner is a sailboat. You know what? There is no Easter Bunny. The guy over there is just a guy in a suit.
I wish you could actually watch any of Kevin Smith's older films, but none of them, like very few of them, are around. I can't find Clerks for Love or Money. I can't find.
Damn,
do
I'd
you
love
not
to
own
watch
it?
Mallrats.
I ditched a lot of DVDs and I lost a couple that I wanted to keep. I think I threw out one of the keep
I think I've
boxes,
got
to
them
be
all on
honest.
my hard drive that I definitely acquired them from very legal sources. 100%. Yes, sir.
The one that I really want is Dogma, and I know I owned it on DVD, but I can't find it anywhere. And Kevin Smith, there was some legal battle, and he had to rip it. It's gone. It's just non-existent now.
Oh really?
That's funny because
it's definitely not on any of the networks.
No, it's not, and you can't buy it either.
Because Matt Damon was referred to it. Emma showed me a video where Matt Damon was taking the piss out of it.
It's a brilliant fucking movie. It's one of my favorites.
All about Loki and like the Loki series coming out, and Matt Damon was in the church in the get up, being like,
Yep.
Ugh.
I've
That's a
got the
great film.
T-shirt. I've got the Buddy Christ T-shirt that offends
Yeah.
Christians every time I go grocery shopping. It's just, or Catholics rather. But yeah, there was some legal battle that meant that you can't have a copy of the movie anymore. It's
Yeah, right.
illegal. Yeah, legally. Anyway, so Spider-Man No Way Home. What did you think of the trailer?
Oh,
Excited?
I am a curious. I am a very curious. Why is Doctor Strange being such a dick?
Mm.
Yeah.
Could we finally get Mephisto?
Yeah.
Is Doctor Strange possessed? What is going on? He wouldn't. He's arrogant, but is he arrogant enough to fuck with the space-time continuum just to help some kid that he fought with a battle win once? I don't think so, chefs. I don't think so. I think we're getting a one more day comic book. I think we're getting that. That'd be
One more
sick.
day.
I'd love that.
Can you explain one more day for the non-Marvel reader in me?
So in the original Civil War comic, which was a massive multi-comic event they did.
I was only reading Wolverine at that time, so I do know Civil War.
Yeah. So this was all around the Superhuman Registration Act, which you kind of saw in the Civil War with the Sokovia Accords. And as part of his openly
Defiance.
supporting Tony Stark's pro-registration, Peter Parker, who to this point was a secret to everyone, no one knew a few people did, but majority no one knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. He famously unmasked himself in this, in a I am Spider-Man situation. Instantly regretted it. All his enemies were like, "Sweet, I'm gonna fuck up Aunt May. I'm gonna fuck up Mary Jane. All your
He
mates."
paid a heavy, heavy price in Civil War.
So after the Civil War, he basically he struck a deal with the devil. So he goes to Mephisto and says, basically, I want to get my secret back and make the world forget that I'm Peter Parker and Spider-Man the same person. And then the payoff was that he, as part of that, he lost his marriage to Mary Jane from memory. So that was a
I
big
don't
part of it.
remember. There was so many comics, and I was.
But I think that's the whole one more day. He has one more day to spend time with people as Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and then a bunch of them, which is kind of alluded to in the trailer, where he's like, "Oh wait, I want MJ to remember. I want you
Don't
know."
mess with the spell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting, but I would definitely say that Strange is acting weird, and.
The fact that he agreed to do it in the first place, is that what you mean?
Just the way that Benedict Cumberbatch is actually playing him, it's like, and that smile he gives Peter after Wong goes into the the teleportation thing.
And
looks,
Wong goes, "Don't cast that
don't
spell."
get it. He goes,
And
"Yeah, okay, I
Peter's-
won't," and then does a wink and a smile. It's like, yeah, you're an arrogant piece of shit because you're Doctor Strange. Like, what? But that was That was a
Yeah,
weird
that
one.
was-
It
that was
left me a
darker.
bit like, oh, hang on, that's not right.
I love that you just get that shot of Alfred Molina as Doc Ock from the previous Spider-Man
Oh,
IP.
we're
Spider-Man
getting the Sinister
2.
Six. We're definitely getting a Sinister Six.
Mm,
You see a pumpkin bomb in there. You see
Yep.
Electro's lightning. What looks like Sandman's sand. The lightning hitting. So where the Sandman, because at the end of Spider-Man 3, he's actually defending Peter. Like,
Yeah.
is he going to be the same guy? There's a shot there where there's like a hulky, shadowy figure, and everyone reckons it's Lizard. But
And then
I
who's
will
the
like
sixth
lose my
Vulture?
shit if Willem Dafoe comes back as Green Goblin. If
Yeah,
I get
that would
that
be
Willem
awesome. I'm
Dafoe
just looking
Green
at the-
Goblin,
I'm just looking at the cast list, and there's nothing about. In
Yeah,
fact, there's a very
of course
short
there's
cast
not.
list at this stage.
Yes.
yeah, because they're keeping it all under wraps.
Mm.
Like they couldn't keep Alfred Molina under wraps because as soon as he got cast, he was like, "Fuck,
sorry.
yes, I'm Doc Ock
Willem,
again."
Willem Dafoe is listed as. What's he listed as?
Even, yeah, but they might
Green
throw
Goblin.
him in there. It might just be a 2
But I'm pretty sure it was Willem Dafoe's laugh when you saw that pumpkin bomb thrown
Yeah,
on
I'm
that
fairly
bridge.
certain it was too. Yeah, so he's playing Green Goblin.
Yeah. I did
Yeah,
see
look,
whether or
I'm
not it was
really looking-
faked or not. I did see like some shaky camcorder action from one of the recent comms over in I can't remember if it was Brazil or Europe, but there was a shot that showed Maguire and Garfield. So whether we're actually getting them, there's been a lot of speculation. Are the three Spider-Man coming
multiverse.
together?
Yeah.
They're going to get, if they don't do it, they're going to get absolutely shot down by fans for not doing it because everybody wants it.
And I want a Miles Morales. That'd be another one to bring out of the Spider-Verse. I
Yeah.
know they've said they're going to do more with that, but
But
We'll see in
I
this
think
film.
there was
But
once
old,
again
old man
a
Spider-Man
leaked
played
photo.
by Tobey Maguire currently, like that'd be sick. Like
Yeah, the rundown Peter Parker from Into
from
the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Yeah, track
100%.
pants and just Spider-Man top. Fuck it, get him to do that. And I would like to think that he wasn't arrogant enough that he wouldn't do it. I would like to think that he would go.
He'd be
"Yeah,
a good sport about it.
Give me
Yeah.
give me the fucking track pants. This is I don't want to squeeze into that fucking spandex again. I don't want to work out and get to like film quality where I have to look trim. Give me the fucking track pants and the Spider-Man top, and that's what I'm wearing.
See, I'm thinking that he would be like, because he's older, he'd be like Dark Knight Returns Batman version of Spider-Man, like a built, chunky, like I'm
Yeah.
old, I'm grizzled, but I can still like I'm
Very-
pretty fucking strong.
Very old
like,
man Batman or
Yeah,
or even,
yeah. Or like
even
he's
Logan.
an armored Spider-Man, kind of like Spider-Man 2099. Like he has to rely on like an armored suit now rather than just like more of a spandex suit.
Did you notice the new suit that Spider-Man was wearing is very much like the latest nanotech? I know that he already had that suit in
At the end,
Endgame,
yeah.
but
Can I just voice my opinion on the nanotech shit? I fucking hate it. My opinion voiced. Continue, Peter.
okay. Well, I was going to move on to the latest Bond film.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Spider-Man nano suit, and I cut in.
No, just to me, the aesthetic has changed between Endgame and now. It is very much Tony Stark's final suit of Iron Man armor with a different color
Well, he has
scheme
the
to
Iron
it.
Spider suit in his shots because he has the four arms coming out, but he's still wearing the suit that he developed in Homecoming. Not Homecoming.
Yeah,
what was the second one?
Homecoming
Home.
and Far
No
From
Way
Home.
Home.
Trip.
Far from
Euro
home.
trip.
Far
Far
from
from
home.
home.
No way home.
Euro trip. Spider-Man Euro trip. Miss Goozy.
I just found the aesthetic was just tweaked my interest, and I don't remember seeing it quite that smooth.
He's meant to have another
And-
suit in it as well, whether it's
He had a very black and red
black
suit.
and gold suit. He's meant to have as well. And there's been some shots of some promotional stuff where he's got like a strange inspired suit or like a strange upgrade to his web shooters.
Yeah, okay.
It's like a combination, like kind of from Infinity War where Strange cast a spell and then Iron Man shot through it when they were doing the fight in New York. So like kind of riffing off that. But yeah, I'm very keen. I love a good bit of
Yeah.
Spider-Man action. So
Can I totally agree?
yeah, and a Sinister Six film, like we're overdue for it. We're because that'd be the sixth one would be bring back Vulture.
Yeah.
Then you'd have your
Michael
six.
Keaton again.
Michael
Yeah.
Keaton, man to be.
And he'll be Andy's in Morbius.
Is he?
Yeah, haven't you seen the Morbius trailer? He's in the Morbius trailer.
Oh, I don't remember the Morbius trailer. It's like, vampires.
Oh yeah, it was probably 12
It was
months
ages
ago
ago.
that the Morbius trailer
It's
came
been
out.
pretty
But yeah, no,
quiet.
he's in it. He's in it as Vulture, as
right.
whatever the guy's name is. But yeah, they're definitely in it, and so yeah, he's definitely spreading himself around in these comic book properties at the moment. And good old Michael Keaton.
And getting that sweet paycheck, so why wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, fuck it. Who doesn't love Michael Keaton?
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
so-
Yeah, I totally agree. Lives in the same, established that it's in the same universe as or same continuity as the MCU. There's some Spider-Man references in that trailer too. It has been a long time since that trailer came out.
In Morbius, yeah. And then there's now rumors that Venom is in the Morbius movie as well. So they're trying.
yeah.
It sounds like that Sony's trying to backdoor everything.
Or Disney's trying to steal the IP through the back door.
Fucking
Reclaim
let
it.
Disney
Reclaim it.
steal it.
They
Let
own it.
Disney
I totally agree.
reclaim. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I think it's more the other way around, that Sony's trying to backdoor these things all in and
Trying
make them,
trying to keep that contract valid by
Trying to stay relevant.
We'll play a game. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's
Stay
exactly
relevant.
it. Pull the wool over the unknowing people's eyes that it's all one big universe, so they'll go and see all the Sony properties because they think they're linked to the MCU properties.
And they're the only reason we don't already have Wolverine in a fucking the same MCU as everything else. Like,
No, that's 20th Century Fox, not Sony.
X-Men was Fox.
Yeah.
Same with Fantastic Four.
You Google away, but it's definitely Fox, and now Marvel, now Disney now own Fox. So
yeah, okay.
I see that screen change. He's definitely googling it. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
still
no,
getting
no,
me on
I've
here.
moved on. I've moved on.
He's
The
moved on.
eyes went to a different
Are you
part of
sure?
the screen.
You're right. I was sitting there thinking, I remember the list of production studios that I've got access to, but 20th Century Fox came under someone else's banner. I couldn't remember who it was, and then you said it was Disney because yes, they did buy Disney. Disney bought them, so that would be why. James Bond. I don't want to spend too much time on it. The trailer looks cool, but look, it's another fucking James Bond movie. It's not that exciting.
No.
That trailer got me excited. It was like a little. It was a greatest hits of Daniel Craig as Bond, and he's been a great Bond.
He has been a great Bond. I won't disagree with that. But at the same time, how many times have you watched an awesome Bond trailer to be disappointed by the movie?
Never.
I'm at a point where I don't get it.
I love Bond.
Yeah, okay.
Dad and I love Bond. Like my dad's definitely some sort of super spy, and I know he listens to these occasionally. But I'm onto you, Dad. I'm onto you.
I think I'd prefer to watch another Mission Impossible than I would another Bond.
Oh God, no. No, I disagree with you there.
I'll watch Bond movies for the next 20 years if I never see another Mission Impossible movie again.
Even if it contains that Aussie actor that wasn't really an actor? Well,
George Lazenby?
Yeah.
George Lazenby. He was only in for one. Give him a break. Come on.
He was only in it for one for a reason. He wasn't a fucking actor, and they figured out that he was full of shit. He lied for his resume. Everyone pumps their resume up, but it's not like I go to NASA and say I built a rocket ship. Fucking hell. Kingsman was the last trailer in Trailer Trash for movies, and it looks...
The King's Man.
Yeah,
Back to well done, boys. We're on.
It looks
Hello.
okay.
I'm excited for it. I love the Kingsman films, and this looks great.
So do I.
I've been craving like some like old, like it sounds weird, but some like good World War I, World War II like action film. Like I'm having that kind of.
Is Ray Fiennes dressed up as Rasputin?
Yeah.
I haven't seen this trailer.
No. He's not playing Rasputin. Ray Fiennes is the King's Man.
I thought it was a disguise. I'm just in images, and there's Ray Fiennes, and then there's
another
Rasputin.
actor who looks a lot like Ray Fiennes who is playing Rasputin. Rasputin's like the main bad guy in this.
Okay.
It looks great. It's got Gemma Atherton's in it as well. There's the other guy who was in Guardians of the Galaxy. I can't remember his name right now.
Stanley Tucci?
No.
The African guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good. He's good and everything.
Digimon?
Oh, Honsu. Jimon Honsu. Yeah. He's brilliant. He looks
he's Papa Midnight in Constantine.
Yeah, he is.
He's
a fucking great Papa Midnight.
He was so underused as Papa Midnight, yeah.
Totally
in that
great.
trailer as well, he looks so agile. It looks like I think he's going to have the most like intense fighting scenes. I'm so excited to watch. Like, I love a good choreographed fighting scene, and I think he's going to be absolutely sick in that. It looks great. I mean, it's like it's definitely got that same vibe you get. Yeah, that vibe from the other ones, but just set in that World War I period. I think that's going to be like some of those old world gadgety things, and maybe it's because I just played all those Bioshock games, but like I want some revolvers and some single shot rifles. Like, you know, I just got to go watch, I don't know, Glorious Bastards or something. And just get that kick from, you know.
It's very random.
Hey,
I'm just wondering if it's Daniel
League of
Bruhl.
Extraordinary Gentlemen, Tom. League of Extraordinary
oh,
Gentlemen.
I'll get some Connery on you.
That's right. I was just wondering if it's Daniel Bruhl that you were talking about, because I'm sure he was the bad guy in Captain. Yeah, he was. He was the in the Captain America Civil War film. He was the one that
He's Baron Zemo. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in Winter Soldier.
Is that who you were talking about, Dan? You said the guy from
The guy
the Marvel
from-
movies?
No, I said that.
Oh,
I said I was trying to
Is that who you
remember
were talking
Jimon
about?
Honsu's name
Oh, right. Okay.
because he was in Guides of the Galaxy.
Okay. I'm going to close that screen because clearly I'm only half listening.
Thanks, man.
And you wanted to talk about Gamescon. I kind of, yeah, it was last week. I haven't really tuned into any of it until the Midnight Suns trailer that I think Ben sent
Tom
to the
put it
team.
up. Tom put
Oh,
it
it was
up
you,
tonight.
was it? I thought it was Ben. Sorry.
No. Gamescom. Yeah, Gamescom was last week. It was. I mean, we wouldn't have really paid much attention to it because everything was really Xbox focused, which was a really weird thing for them. But hey, whatever. Microsoft obviously put a bunch of money behind it, and Sony said, "Fuck you, we'll do our own thing." And Nintendo only
Fucking
do their own
Sony
things.
yet again.
Well, they do their
Should
state
we be
of plays.
talking about our third beer here before? Like, we talked about the Magic Eye, but we actually never talked about what the beer was like.
Oh, the actual beer itself. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
that's a good fair
Before
point.
we
Yeah.
before we
Well
roll
done, Dad.
further into Gamescom, the Magic Eye is great. I mean, it's a really nice West Coast IPA. It's got a good bitterness level. It's got some really good pineapple, citrusy fruit characters. I get a lot of pineapple, passion fruit out of it.
I get more of that pine needle, like classic West Coast pininess.
Yeah,
Like, I don't get much pineapple, but yeah.
Oh, really?
No.
I would say we both have the same batch. I would almost say.
I think they only did one.
What's your best before on the bottom of the can?
21st of the 4th, 22.
Yep, same batch.
There we go.
Same
There you
batch.
go.
Hashtag 384. Is that number 384? There you go.
Hmm.
Like a little.
3 out of 4. Yes.
There we go.
Samesies. Yeah, it's really nice. I love these.
Oh, it's a great West Coast.
Yeah, these clean, really hop
very
expression.
filtered.
Well, not filtered, but settled. Yeah.
Yeah.
West Coast IPAs that are just the flavor expression on them when they get these right is just amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm drinking. Sorry.
Peter, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking another batch. I've been spoilt for choice, to be honest. I've got like 11 sours in the fridge. I changed my mind at the last minute. I was going to have a NEPA, but thought, fuck it. Feel like another sour.
You do you.
So I'm drinking Batch Brewing's Beastie Boysenberry Sour Ale.
Good old Beastie Boysenberry.
And I couldn't remember the last time I had a boysenberry based sour ale. It is very, you probably can't see that as clearly as you should, but it's
up.
it's a deep red, almost not quite Ribena purple, but it's a deep red, and it is very tasty. You can tell it's got the same base kettle sour treatment as the rest of their sours, because I go through like a case of Pash every couple of weeks, so I drink a shitload of their passion fruit sour, and this is almost this, in that series, if that makes sense. It feels like it tastes like the same base beer, but with a lot of boysenberry. It's lovely, and it smells nice and dark berry flavored, which I really enjoy. So
Bit of creaminess in there as well.
yeah, you're right. There is.
There's lactose in it, so I was just checking.
Yeah, I wouldn't have picked it until you asked me. I don't know
It's
why.
sneaky, that lactose.
But
So
I'm
that beer was originally made as a collaboration with the Forest Lodge Hotel in Glebe for their hot wing competition. So it was like the
the old
quencher.
traditional milk
Yeah.
to get rid of the chili burn. Yeah, it doesn't work. It's an urban myth, but that's cool. Bit of history behind it.
There you go.
No, it's really quite nice.
So I can't tell you what hops were in the Hazy Pale, but I can tell you where the Beastie Boysenberry originated. So I do listen occasionally at work. So Andrew, if you're listening, because you won't be, there you go. I do pay attention.
Big berry junkie, that juice be funky. Lactose at the dance for that creamy feel.
They're embarrassing.
Did you write this or something?
No, I had nothing to do with it. But they went through this weird rap phase, and
Clearly,
it's just a bunch of white dudes like really going into rap. And it's just
white
like
men can't rap. Yeah,
no, they can't jump either.
Drink this berry sour. Here's how you'll feel. Put your left hand down, your right hand up. Tilt your head back. Let's finish the cup.
So, Gamescom 2020.
We'll finish the clip. Yeah,
2021.
Give yourself an uppercut, boys.
No, it was all references. Anyway, yes.
Marvel Midnight Suns.
Marvel Midnight Suns was probably the biggest one out of there that was going to be relevant to us in terms of A, being multi-platform, in terms of multi-console, and B, something we're all interested in. It's made by the guys who made XCOM. So it's a strategy.
2X? 2K? 2K.
2K. Yeah.
I've never played an XCOM. I don't know if you guys have played an XCOM game.
Yep.
Yeah, so that strategy game. And then they released today was a actual gameplay trailer. So the first thing they just did was a cinematic one. It is set in the extended Marvel universe.
Extended.
Yeah, so it's more based in the comics. It's not related to the MCU. You have characters that haven't appeared in the MCU yet, so it's they say there's 11 characters plus this new one, which is the Hunter, which is the main female character that you awake in the trailer. So you're looking at...
It may not be...
it's the player character. It can be male or female.
Yeah.
Or genderless if you decide to make it genderless. I don't think it can be.
When it's one game like this, I generally, personally, I just go, they made it a chick? Sweet. I'm going to play as a chick. It works
I
better.
agree. Yeah.
I disagree that it's... it's obviously not canon, but I disagree that it's set outside of the MC universe because the character models are dead ringers for the actors that are playing the characters in the MCU.
It's got nothing to do with the MCU.
I think that Strange looks nothing like... Well, not nothing like Cumberbatch, but it looks far enough away from him.
Really?
You don't reckon?
Yeah.
No, not at all. And even down to fucking, I can't remember her name now. Oh,
Captain Marvel? Brie Larson?
Thank you, Captain Marvel. It does look like Brie Larson. Same haircut, same fucking outfit. Of
Which
all
is
the
all
costumes
ripped from
they could have picked.
The comic books. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. They've all got the same
This isn't
source
a chicken
material.
and egg scenario. Comics definitely came first, and the MCU is ripped from that.
No, it's not a chicken
Thanks,
and egg
Tom.
scenario.
But there's about 25 different costumes they could have picked for any of these characters, and they picked the ones that are in the fucking movies we watched a couple of years ago, and you're telling me it's unlinked. I call bullshit.
Bullshit
even
on
down
that.
to
It's got nothing to
Wolverine.
do with the MCU. It's based on a 90s comic book that the dude fell in love with.
I'm not suggesting that the core content doesn't come from completely different source
from
material.
a marketing point,
but
sure. You got 100 customizable costumes they've gone on about.
Yeah.
You can have the MCU
marketing.
costumes if you want.
And first thing I'm doing is changing that fucking Ghost Rider.
You don't like that Ghost Rider?
I don't
The
mind
Robbie Reyes.
I don't mind it, but it's not my Ghost Rider.
I don't know if you'll be able to go back to a Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider though.
Oh no, I'd probably go Dan Ketch. Vengeance.
Yeah, but Robbie Reyes is all about he's got a muscle car. He's got like a Camaro. He doesn't have a bike.
Yeah,
So I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love to see Blade in a property like this. It's cool to see Blade.
It's going to be for me. It's going to be Hunter, Ghost Rider, and Blade.
I just
that's going to be my team.
Just the absolute dark team, like the supernatural dark team. But it's a cool little mix. You got a bunch of the cool supernatural characters. You got Blade, Ghost Rider, we've just mentioned. You got Doctor Strange, obviously, which is kind of like the bridge between the regular MCU and the supernatural MCU. You have Magic from the X-Men, who is Colossus's younger sister.
Yep.
And then you have one of the Runaways, Nico, who is a witch character, and her power is all based around she can't cast the same spell twice. It's a very interesting kind of power to have. Like she has to come up with like different variations every time of how she's going to use it.
Thinking outside, that not only challenges that, well, I'm talking like it's a real person, but that must be one enormous son of a bitch for the writers. So I reckon everybody who's written that character after the initial person has just gone, fuck you.
Oh, definitely.
What fucking mind? You just fucking wrote this character just to screw with everybody for the next fucking 100 years this character's included in anything.
Yeah, because you're going to have a running list of every spell she's ever cast through the entire history.
Yeah. You're going to have people in there that have got these lists that are ready to go. Yeah, he or she, whoever came up with this character, has just been laughing the whole fucking time.
100%.
Every time they've seen her appear in something.
And it was probably one of the, like, maybe, I reckon it'd be the best thing to do if it was like you knew your contract was up and you weren't going to renew it and you were like getting out. You're like,
it's either that or sue Disney, right?
Canon. Yeah. Just establish this as canon, and then you guys have to fucking deal with it.
And make that character an enormous linchpin in something like Civil War, or Midnight Sun, where they can't just write her out because that character has to stay in for this reason. If you don't leave this character in, the fucking entire universe unravels.
Yeah. But looking at the character list they've done,
you got Wolverine.
And then you got your regular MCU heroes or regular Marvel heroes. You got Wolverine, Iron Man, Captain America, Captain Marvel have been shown so far. They said there's going to be 11 Marvel characters, and then there'll be the 12th will be the Hunter. Which is she's meant to be the daughter of Lilith, who is the mother of demons, and it's all very supernatural. It is based on a comic run from 92, I think it was. The guy said in the playthrough today, the developer interview. If you look at that, the lineup they had in that was Blade was there, Ghost Rider was there, but they had Morbius was in, but I don't know if they're included him. There are a bunch of other a little bit more obscure Marvel heroes from over the ages, but he said, he put it perfectly. He was like, it was a hair metal love letter to the supernatural world. The characters were big and kind of boisterous, and then they were just over the top.
The costumes look cool.
The costumes do look cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. This card thing's thrown me a bit.
Yeah.
Having never played an XCOM series.
That's got nothing to do with XCOM. XCOM didn't play that way either.
No, but just that's that full strategy thing. I guess it's because I'm getting my ass handed to me by, I'm playing Dragon Age on Nightmare at the moment. It's that more strategy kind of thing. It's I should be able to block here, but it's rolling dice, is invisible dice to get hits and stuff. I don't know.
It seemed like an interesting randomization.
It seems like a very uninteresting monetization to me, but continue.
If they sell cards, I suppose all random decks.
Of course they fucking
no,
sell
they've already
cards.
said they're not. They already said they're not.
I do not believe that in the slightest.
All right, Mr. Pessimistic over here.
I guess we'll just have to see. I like the creativity idea in using the environment to interact with your spells. It reminded me of Divinity.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I got vibes from DC Universe Online. We've got a bunch of different universes or different character sets in the same extended universe mashed together in a cool way. I was disappointed that there's no co-op and it felt like when I was watching it, having no idea what the fuck it was until I watched it during our break, it felt almost like it was going to be an MMORPG. So I'm almost disappointed that they didn't make it into an MMORPG because I think that would have been cool too.
See, I'd rather than bring back the old X-Men Legends or the Marvel Ultimate Alliance, I want that gameplay again for a Marvel game. You got a roster of, I want a big roster. I'm saying 100 plus heroes you can choose from. Maybe not 100, maybe say 50. 50 heroes you can choose from, but you can make a squad of 4. And unlike the dreaded Avengers game that I will not talk about,
you seem to bring up every episode that you won't talk about, but anyway.
Well, I've got a lot of PTSD from playing that, Peter, and I'm trying to therapy myself through it. But no, being able just to switch between, if you have a squad of 4, if being cool, I'm going to go as Storm, for example, and fly up and cast lightning bolts. But on the other side, I'm going to quickly switch over and be Captain America and shield charge in. And then being able to play more that way, I'd much rather that style of gameplay, but I guess I'm just me and I'm not going to get that. And
Dan, you never played DC Universe Online, did you?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. I do. there are some redeeming features about that game that I enjoyed. I
Mm.
have some fun memories of kind of flying from Metropolis to Gotham and interacting with a million characters, and half of whom I'd never heard of until that. And then you go back and go, it's literally all based on comics that I've never heard of. So it was a cool way to get to kind of come to terms with the extended DC universe. Would have been cool if they'd done something similar here, but the game looks fun.
That's very base limiting, I think. I think that there's a lot more people. There's a lot more I'm not sure we'll see another big MMO again. I know Amazon's trying to bring one out with the New World, which was also at Gamescom, but I'm not sure we'll see one on the scale of Warcraft and that ever again. We'll see things like Destiny and
very
Division.
pay-per-view Fortnite.
Division, well, maybe not even Fortnite. Fortnite, it's not an MMO. It's a
True. It's a battle royale, but
battle royale. That's it.
Quickly on battle royales, can I say the weirdest thing I saw today? Call of Duty Warzone is getting Judge Dredd. Do with that what you will.
Oh, really?
Okay.
It came up today. It was
okay.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Judge Dredd is going to be in Call of Duty Warzone.
Okay. Yep.
What the
sure.
fuck? Anyway.
Yep.
Battle royale suck. You heard it here first.
I think this was an excellent choice for them to go. I mean, I've spoken recently about my joyous love of turn-based combat games, especially since I busted my arm and that's all I could play for 3 or 4 months, and really, really kept my sanity there. And I mean, I've always enjoyed them anyway. So I think
don't get me wrong. Lord of the Rings Third Age is one of my favorite games of all time, and that's a turn-based strategy. That's a turn-based game.
It throws me a little bit that it's only they've taken a different route, and even going to the Marvel games you were just talking about, they're always 4 in a team.
Yeah,
this one's 3 in a team.
Yeah, it's weird,
and it just seems a weird, odd number because you're no longer working. They're talking about combinations between heroes, and you're now no longer working with 2 and 2. You're now working. You almost
All
have
three.
to have that hunter character as a central pivotal character that will work. Their power will work in combination with the other 2 that you choose. So I'm going to be really disappointed if you get in there and your choices are limited between people being like maybe Blade and Wolverine, for example, are melee close quarters, and then you've got someone like Strange who's a glass cannon long distance, and Captain America's close by, but he only works with someone like Iron Man that is
so you're going to have to use
long
your
range
character to bridge the gap almost.
Yeah, and I'm going to be really disappointed if that's the way they go and that they force you.
Oh, they did kind of talk about that in that the hunter character, can go more dark magic or more light magic, and that will affect the way the team plays out. And so like the dark magic is more destructive, but it has, I guess, more of a cost on the team, whereas the light magic is more supportive, healing, that kind of route of like play style, but it has a more, I guess, a positive effect on the team, or like it plays differently out in like terms of the whole general story.
I just hope they don't try and pigeonhole you into picking certain. I hope they don't try and pigeonhole you to use different characters for the scenario you're going to, like make you use all the characters instead of the characters you want to use.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at the moment, there's no real tank character either. Like, I guess Wolverine is probably the tankiest you'd get, but you definitely need someone like a
Wolverine. I know he can be Wolverine kind of breaks that model, man, because he is very much DPS, but he's also very tanky because he's a damage soak.
Take the hit.
Yeah.
I was just saying we need someone that can
tanky would be
is
Captain
big and
America.
bulky, who would then be able to fastball special him. Because if I cannot fastball special in this game, then it is not worth playing.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to, because there'll be no Colossus, and there'll be no Hulk, there'll be no Juggernaut, there'll be no one that can
pick him up and throw him.
I mean, if
you
you could do a leap off
through
Cap's shoulder, Cap's shield. Sorry, like he lands there, and then you just push him right off, and then that'd work.
So here's
Black
a scenario
Widow in
for
Avengers
you.
1.
How about Wolverine bouncing off Cap's shield to fastball special through a Doctor Strange portal That works for
Just
me.
slap him in the back of the head. Yeah.
So,
My eyes just rolled into the back of my head. I can't think straight anymore. Dear God, what was that? I was possessed.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
Is it hot in here? Or is it just me?
I think we found the screenshot for the episode, though.
What else is announced at
Tom's
Gamescom?
O-face.
Let's move on. Marvel's Sons. We'll see more as it comes out. It looks interesting. Saints Row's getting rebooted.
well, I've just got to say that obviously that has enormously. Once again, it's Marvel, but it's something quite different, and it's obviously captured our attention even more than. It's probably captured my attention more than I probably thought it would from the first trailer.
I think it was just so unexpected. I hadn't heard anything about it. It came really out of nowhere.
Yeah, and I think that's probably a good thing as well.
We've been pretty starved for a good Marvel game for a long time, and it's coming from an established studio who make absolute kick-ass games. Whether or not I haven't played them, but I know how well they get received. Like, I think that it's the pedigree behind it that's really pushing that forward.
And as much as Pete disagrees, it's not a MCU property.
Yeah.
And that's what probably drives me more towards it than anything else. Is, once again, we've got a Blade, we've got a Ghost Rider. Yeah, and they're the guys I've wanted to see for so long, and they're the ones that I want to see once again in their solo games, and I'd love to see them reappear in an MCU and really stick it up. Don't get me wrong, I love the current MCU characters, but they would be such a juxtaposition to these guys. So
Blade and Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider were in the most recent Avengers arc that I read, which was in the last year and a half. They were prominent members of, it was like Cap, Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Blade, Ghost Rider, none of the X-Men. There was someone else in there, but like they were like weirdly had been put into the Avengers like core lineup. So they were definitely trying to push them, I guess this is another way to do that. But yeah, no, that's great. I think it's great. I mean, I love seeing those characters again and mixing them with Strange and Wolverine and some of those others. The runaway girl now really interests me that she can't cast the same spell twice. That's going to be a super interesting. How do they play that out gameplay wise? Oh, they're not going to be able to. They're not going to be able to.
No, but if that's her ability, they have to. There is going to be such an enormous backlash if they don't do that.
I agree.
Like, they have to do it.
It's going to be. They're going to change it somehow. It's going to be.
She must have a million lines of dialogue. That voice actor.
She's probably the highest paid actor in that whole thing, just because she has to record every single
I don't know how they would do that. Just be, unless they made it a random spell cast, then like how would they even do that?
You know what? It'd be the same spell, and it'd be a random generated name for it. It'd be something like that. Like she has to
like just slightly different specs on the spell or something.
Yeah, they have to change it slightly in game to make it work. But yeah.
Saints Row. That's interesting.
Saints Row. Have you guys ever played any of the Saints Row games?
I think I might have. Yeah, I think I might have spent like 5 minutes on it, but didn't it go all weird? Alien,
yeah, it got really cool. So I started with Saints Row 3, which is where
purple dildo bats.
Big purple dildo bats, where you were knocking people out with a giant purple dildo. That's where it started to get wacky, and then Saints Row 4, you got superpowers. So they were the two, and then there was
or something like that.
Yeah, and then there was the spin-off where you got sent to hell, and it was Get Out of Hell.
Right.
So they've obviously gone, no, that's weird. Let's pull it back. So they've gone back to Saints Row 3, which is where it was like a little bit wacky, but it wasn't
still
superpowers.
Kind of
it wasn't
in reality.
Supernatural. It was all it was still, you were still gangsters. It was still GTA kind of like.
Because that's what I thought it was. It was like the GoBots for GTA.
Oh yeah, essentially that's what it started as. Yeah. It was a complete rip-off of GTA. And then they started being like, it was like, what are we going to smoke today and come up with in terms of what we can do? But
that's exactly how it came across at the time.
Yeah, but I remember playing like Saints Row 4, and it was like you could fly, but you could still pull someone out of their car and steal it. It's like, well, why would I if I could fly? But there was still that element of the game. You just knock someone off their bike and take it and all that kind of jazz. But they've taken it back. They're rebooting it. It's more, I guess, Earth-centric, but they said there will be some. If you've played the Saints Row series, it will be Saints Row 3-esque. It will still be a little bit wacky, There'll still be some weird, like there's still lasers in it, like so it's not just guns and rocket launchers.
Yeah.
But it's going back to that kind of thing, which is interesting. We'll see how it works. The other ones I took away from it was if I got another look at the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, which has been delayed multiple times. It's looking at a March to May, so they said a spring US 22 release, which is for us is autumn 22.
So can I just jump on the Saints Row thing?
Yes.
If they can throw even if it's parts of missions in there that were elements that were in the trailer, like them driving backwards along the ledge on the top of the building while the guys in the road, they're driving in the road down below them. If they can throw things in there like the guy flicking his motorbike up and grabbing the hand of the driver of the car as he flips over the top of it and her pulling him into the car, like those sort of things, those even if they're just cinematic button press cutscenes,
which they were in 3
scenes.
and 4. You could do things like that, like you had takedowns, like when you're doing a melee attack, like that you'd do like wrestling moves. But they were still kind of earth-based things, but you'd give people the people's elbow, like, and that would destroy them. Like, yeah. If they definitely feels like they'll do that.
If they just incorporate those sort of things into their, and even if they're only in the main missions, the core story scripted missions, that's enough to get me in. Like and outside of the elements, the extra elements that they'll throw in the open world, if they just put them in there, that's fun enough for me to go, yeah, this is going to be a good time, and I'm going to want to get to the next main mission to go, what silly thing are they going to have me do in this one? Even if you're not driving the car, if you're the shooter, and you wouldn't be driving the car because that's too hard to drive along the edge of a building backwards, as it is in any video game.
Sorry, are you trying to
speak for yourself?
Yeah, are you trying to make the crazy thing sound like, oh, you'd never do that in real life?
No.
The other crazy thing that you could never do in real life.
Can you imagine trying to do that even in GTA? Drive the reverse controls in the vehicles in GTA were bad enough as it is.
True.
Like, trying to do it along the edge of a building and keep it up there for the story mission would be enormously frustrating. So they're going to throw you in as the gunner, not as the reverse driver. For things like that. I mean, that's
or just not have the controls reversed.
Or not have the controls reversed. But where's the fun in that?
Yeah, exactly. No, definitely. But no, I get what you mean. Like if they're putting that amount of craziness in there, it's going to. What is it? You've piqued my curiosity. Now you have my
definitely.
attention.
That's definitely what it is. Yeah, sorry. Continue. Lego Star Wars. These
Excitement.
fuckers need to stop delaying this fucking thing and just release the damn thing.
Yeah, I agree. Why is it taking so long though?
I think they all
they've made a million Lego games. What's the problem?
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
They've made a million Lego Star Wars games too. It's not even like it's the first time the IP's been mashed together with the blocks. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit annoyed. I've had it. It's been sitting in my pre-order cart for months.
Can you imagine? It's technical. It's got to be technical difficulties with having to release it to 11 fucking consoles at the same time.
But the new trailer looks
damn Switch holding us up. The fucking Switch port.
Totally will.
Yep. The fucking port to the Switch, just fucking us all around. And then the Switch goes and releases the new upscaled version. So then now they've got to go back in and they got to go back in and change all the fucking parameters for the fucking graphics for the fucking Switch upgrade. So now we've got to change that shit over.
As long as Sorry, we're having trouble with the Game Boy Color release.
Oh, imagine bring that back.
I knew that'd make your eyes light up, Tom.
The Game Boy Advance version with a little flip up screen, a little light. Yeah, that was great. I'm excited. I've always loved the Lego games, especially the Lego Star Wars ones.
They were fun. I
actually think the thing that's fucking them up this time, and I don't know if it's going to be a good thing or not. It's going to be the first Lego Star Wars game that has a true like open world hub. So I've played most of the Lego games, but like if you think like Lego Avengers or Lego Marvel Superheroes or even DC, you do have that central like, especially so Lego Marvel Superheroes, you got 1 and 2. In 1, you have like whole of New York, so you run across the whole of New York, whole of Manhattan. You find little missions here, you find little vehicles there, little character tokens wherever. But that's like your base hub, but it's massive. It's huge. It's the island of Manhattan. Like, if you're in real life, it takes you a good solid day to walk it, having actually done that. So they're creating this big kind of open world hub, and then you go off and do your missions in your little areas or whatever, but come back.
Which is 90 but your missions are going to be 90% of the game though.
No, but I'm
Surely.
just saying they've never done that in the Star Wars game before.
No,
So
I
I'm
get
like,
it, but why would you
is-
spend 90% of your energy on 10% of the fucking game? It's almost superfluous to the actual game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't. They end up splitting it like more 60-40. You do spend a fair bit of time in those hubs in those Lego games. Whether it's little like
It's
flying
been a while
missions
since
around.
I played one, I have to admit. I think it was episode 2 was the last Star Wars Lego game I played. So
Episode 2? Lego Star
No.
Wars 2. Lego Star Wars 2.
yeah,
doing
which
in
was
trilogies.
based on which was based on episode 2, the second Star Wars film
No.
in the prequel trilogy?
No, so the first Lego Star Wars game was episodes 1, 2, and 3. And then Lego Star Wars 2 was
Right.
the original trilogy.
Right. So
That was back on the PS2 and GameCube. And then they did the 6 of them in one. Trust me. on this one,
maybe
Peter.
I played the 6 in 1. That's
Probably
what
played
I
the
would have
6 in
played,
1,
and I
yeah,
never
but-
finished more than the second episode. I was playing it from 1 to 6.
Yeah.
Got
But
it.
you had your hub was the cantina. Like
Yes.
it's not a big
Yes.
thing. When you go to like the Lego Marvel series, you're looking at like they had a whole bunch of side quests, all this kind of thing. So if you're trying to actually finish everything in the game, you actually end up
As we
spending
do.
a fair bit of time in the hub world compared to like doing the missions. You do the mission once, and then you do the mission on free play to get all the collectibles. But then in the actual hub, you spend a fair bit of time going around doing side quests and finding character tokens and finding vehicle tokens
Hmm.
and all this kind of stuff. So
I'm just going to look it up on my trophy list because I have vivid memories of I was trophy hunting in that game, but I don't remember finishing the other parts of the trilogy. Anyway, talk about Vanguard while I look this up, please.
I'm just going to.
Unless you had more about Lego.
I have a lot of things to say about Lego. I love Lego. It's
So, Tom, I
Yep.
apologize if this is a question that has already been asked or something that has already come up, but do we know, what's the roster of characters in?
Oh, it's going to be every character from 1 to 9. They'll
Yes.
probably have some DLC that include Mando.
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah, they'll have some Rebels DLC. They'll have
Clone
some
Wars.
Clone Wars, some Bad Batch.
Clone Commando.
It's all
Bad
those
Batch.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. If
It's
I
a
can
shame
go
there's-
around, as Wrecker, I'll be enormously happy.
Oh, I imagine by the time that comes out, by the time it comes out, which will be, looking around.
This could be another point of delay too. Disney is now releasing these things. Imagine if they didn't know of the Bad Batch, and they've all of a sudden go, well, you now need to animate the Bad Batch into all this, and they go, well, fuck, that's another.
That's not
fucking
gonna
6
work.
months.
Yeah. What are you looking at, Peter? Because I'll correct you outright.
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to. Fuck, man. I'm not trying to challenge you. I was saying I have vivid memories of trophy hunting in a Lego Star Wars game. So I'm just going back through my trophy list on the PlayStation Network to try and find which game I played because it's got the entire history since.
There was a Lego
PS3.
Clone Wars game as well, which was on the PS3. And there was definitely Lego Star
Lego
Wars.
The Lord of the Rings. I platinumed. Lego
Yep.
Batman 2. I platinumed.
I've never played any of them. I've played the demos that they
They're
released,
fun.
and I remember many.
They're so good.
Well,
My
I
favorite,
think-
my favorite memory of Lego Star Wars was them. So up until, so I think because these were back on the PS2 where trophies weren't prevalent. So the trophies only came in on the PS3, and the first Lego Star Wars game on the PS3 was Lego Star Wars: The Clone Wars, which was all based around the TV series.
Yeah, it's definitely not in here. So you're
So you would have played it on the
you're right.
PS2 or GameCube is what I played them all on. The original trilogy, and then the Saga, which was all the first 6 films. But up until I think it was
Oh my
Marvel
God, that beer is
Superheroes,
amazing.
one of those PS3, PS4 games. They didn't have any voice acting in any of them. So the way they did the Vader father reveal in Empire Strikes Back was Vader held up a photo. Yeah, it was like, but it was Vader holding up a Lego. So, you know, he's got his little Lego hand. He's holding up a little brick, and it's got Vader with Padme, and Padme's pregnant, and he's pointing to the pregnant stomach and then pointing to Luke and going like, "It's you." And that was how they did the whole "I am your father" thing. Like
it's very creative, and all of the games
voice acting, like it was genius, and I loved
all of the games have been very creative and enjoyable. And I remember you had to collect, and I'm sure I played the 6 movies crammed into one Lego game because as you went through the game, you collect the master bricks, which built the X-wing or the TIE fighter, one of the two. I think it built like main ships from the series.
Every mission you had to collect 10 bricks, which would build a ship relating to that mission. Then you could fly them as little mini ships.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, no, very enjoyable. Anyway, we need to talk about Call of Duty Vanguard, or we're never getting. I mean, we could, and then we need to talk about this beer because I have a little mouthgasm every time I take a sip. I've been looking forward to this beer. To
you talk
be
about
honest,
back in
Dan,
2 seconds. I just had a
most
nitro accident. I'll be back. I need a towel.
It's
happened. It's finally happened. I overshook it.
We knew it was going to happen. Most of it's been completely involuntary. It is.
We'll talk about it now. He's gone.
Okay.
Prime time. I know nothing about Call of Duty Vanguard. I remember seeing it came up at Gamescom. So, no, go quick.
So this is Duncan's Toasty Marshmallow Imperial Pastry Stout. Duncan's is a small, like a microbrewery on the North Island of New Zealand.
Okay. Yeah.
In a place called Kapiti. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, so I apologise to all of the New Zealanders who listen to the show whilst waiting in the Centrelink line.
Jesus, I came back in at the wrong time. Just fuck me.
I knew there was a knife going in there, and it was going in real slow. But I didn't expect that little twist right at the end. Yeah. He got it into the hilt, and then he just went.
I would just like to point out, I didn't spill a single drop of that on the ground or on my computer. It all went on the wood on the desk. Didn't wreck any of Emma's notes.
I hope you're going to get a Chucks or one of those super absorbent chamois.
Definitely not a tea towel I took from the pub.
No,
ever.
definitely not a hospitality tea towel. I've seen many of those over my time.
I'm disappointed in you, Tom. You should have taken a chamois, absorbed it all, and then wrung it out back into your fucking glass like a real man.
Do you want me to squeeze this out? I'll squeeze this fresh. It's a fresh tea towel. I washed it yesterday.
And I'm glad you didn't steal it on Emma's notes because isn't Emma a doctor?
She's a doctor.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that would have been bad. Yep. Our brewer took a massive blowtorch to our kettle and toasted a truckload of marshmallows and lactose sugar for this beer. Enough said. Enjoy. Brings back memories, Dan.
It does, yes. And Tom asked me about how we did the marshmallows for that, for the raid.
Fuck, that was a fun night.
And I said to him exactly what that just said, is put them in the kettle and hit them with a blowtorch on top of the kettle. Because that's not how we did it. No. We did it all manually.
Yeah, no, we sat there with literally a handheld butane blowtorch, like a chef's blowtorch, creme brulee torch, and a...
It was the
very careful about what I say.
It was the upturned lid of the homebrew kit, or my homebrew kit that's at the brewery.
And so we just laid out bags and bags of marshmallows and just hit them all with a torch, turn them all, hit them with a torch, threw them in the kettle.
Yeah, 20 kilos of marshmallows when a single marshmallow probably weighs less than a gram is a lot of marshmallows.
A lot of marshmallows. But I got to say, this beer is fucking spectacular.
Can you hold the can up again, please?
Sure. And the artwork is beautiful. Like, I can only imagine it's some sort of...
Oh, it just looks like a pink and purple mess on my screen.
Yeah. I'll send you a photo.
Okay.
No, I suspect it's probably traditional artwork, to be honest, but Duncan's I've never heard of, and once I saw that it was from NZ.
Yeah, Duncan's are good. They make some great beers. They've only just really started appearing over here. What's the name of the beer again?
But the Toasty Marshmallow Imperial Pastry Stout. I've got to say, it's like drinking fucking chocolate milk.
Stout. You
it is. It is spectacular. I've been looking forward to it since I saw it. It is
that's
very
cool.
smooth.
That's really cool artwork.
Oh, I'll look it up. Yeah. So, going on the stout train there, Peter, I am also drinking a stout, but my stout is more along my lines of stouts. Mine is a Saltbush and Oyster Stout from Hop Nation. So it is their Jawbone Stout. So it's done with...
Oyster Stouts. There's some horrible hangovers coming back to haunt me.
This one's 6.3%, so it's not too bad. But oh my God, it's salty and dry. My mouth is like...
ASMR coming back at you.
Definitely is. Where is it? I read it earlier when I was in the light, and now I can't find it on the can again. Locally forged Saltbush from Mornington Peninsula.
Locally forged?
Seawater.
Do they say they just got the hammer and tongs onto that one, did they?
Foraged. Locally foraged.
There's some Minecraft action happening.
No, I'm just picturing Dan making his armor just with some Saltbush.
Donk. Donk. Mornington Peninsula seawater and oyster shells.
Oyster shells?
Yeah, oyster shells. Make for a strong foundation for this in this brew. A unique malt blend creates a complex, smooth stout, while Willamette, Anthem, and Laurel hops add structure and depth. Dark, dry, and slightly salty. It is definitely dry. It is definitely dry.
I do love a good dry stout. Like a dry Irish stout fucking gets me on.
Yeah, it's got an enormous body to it, and it is super dry, and there's that extra salt added to it makes that. Like I am super parched at the moment, and I've still got that much to go. I'm going to drink the whole thing because it's
smoking
delicious.
a Jawbone and then just needing a glass of water.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's exactly what it is. It's like
fucking cotton mouth,
punching a cone stout, dry mouth. Yeah.
Oh, there's a name for your next beer. Punching the cone stout, you're making a really dry Irish stout.
Yeah. Imagine putting the stout in as the bong water and then pulling that through there. Roasty. Yeah.
Roaring fires, malt beer, red meat off the bone.
Gonna have to find myself a Mr. Juicy bottle and a piece of hosepipe.
This, my friends, is the home of my cousin Balin, and they call it a mine. A mine.
They got mine.
This is the part of the evening where we're all trash bagged.
I will quote Gimli at the drop of a hat. You just look at me the right way, and I'll give you a Gimli quote. I am drinking the Nitro Moose from Tallboy and Moose. It has probably the horniest moose I've ever seen in my time. On there, it is a nitro milk stout. That did explode because I overshook it. It does say shake lightly, and I shook it normally like I do. I guess they put an extra bit of nitrogen for me, so lucky me. It's chocolate mousse. It's silky smooth chocolate mousse in a glass. Not an overly roasty stout base. I get heaps of sweetness from that. Obviously, I would put some lactose in there.
I'm so disappointed we're not meeting in person for this episode because I'd love to pitch yours next to mine and just taste test between the two for the both of us. Because
Pete, you want to line yours up next to Pete, next to Tom's.
The old pissing contest, eh?
No, I'm just saying that the way that Tom described it sounds like he's describing my beer. So I'd be interested to see how they are different. I'd love to juxtapose.
Yeah,
those two together. Because there's no marshmallow in this.
Well, that's the thing. There's no real vanilla character in this. Like I guess you'd be having.
It's just chocolate milk.
Well, yeah. This is like I guess roasted chocolate milk. It's still got that roasty character coming through. But it's definitely got a nice dose of nitro in it, as I can attest to the sopping wet rag I've got next to me on the bench. But it's definitely carrying that silky character all the way through. But yeah, it's got that light, airy mousse character for the mousse.
Mousse.
We've just had 3 completely different stouts. It's
cool, isn't it?
All together, yeah.
Look at us go. Look at us.
It would be
Look at us.
interesting. Look at us not planning how to do these things properly, like professionals.
The Jawbone Stout, was by whom?
Hop Nation.
Hop Nation. Cool.
That's got some cool can art too. Is it the same can art still with the fish skeleton on it?
Yeah, the fish skeleton. Once again, it's not the traditional Hop Nation can art, I would say.
No, they've moved away. They've started doing some much more colourful can art. Yeah, I know. I know how much you love that original white and green.
Yeah, it's
black vibe.
That sort of shit is beautiful in its simplicity.
Yeah,
and I mean this once again is it is a beautiful artwork. I should not rag on from that. It is an amazing label. It's well laid out. It's well thought out. Even the way that the artwork draws your eye across from scattered bits on a blank piece of label all the way through to the main artwork to the name of the beer, which is like a big title coming up at the start of a movie, through to the information on the yeah. But looking it up compared to having the can in your hand, like I just looked up the label of yours, so it's different at the way it draws your eye, but It is a beautiful thing, but oh man, that's going to disappoint me if they move away from that black and green. That black and green just gets me, man. And they've even toned down the green too, which I'm not a fan of. I like this color.
They've gone from like the fish skeleton to like the fish guts.
Yes.
Yeah. If you look at the original,
so
it was literally like it was that green splash and then just like a skeleton on top.
Oh, okay. No, this is a pink and purple fish with the middle coming out of it, all growing seaweed out of the middle.
Now, yeah.
And even the green, it's not that big vibrant Hop Nation green.
No, they seem to have moved away from that vibrant green.
It's a nice green, but it's not that hot. It's not that vibrant.
I think we're going
beautiful, big, vibrant. Yeah.
Just to get us back on topic, I think we're going to skip your last entry for trailers, and we can come back to it because we're in trailer trash. But I ain't seen no trailers for any of this shit.
I can see the trailers, but yeah.
I think we want to end with a bit of fun.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I would love to end on this little thought I had the other day. So I just started playing Rise of the Tomb Raider, the second of the Square Enix Tomb Raider games. I was getting so fed up with getting my ass kicked in Dragon Age, so I was like, "Fuck this! I'm going to play another game that I've been lining up."
Which Dragon Age were you playing that you were getting
any Dragon
Inquisition, but I'm doing the Nightmare difficulty run through, and it is killing me.
Is it a good game? Do you guys rate the game? I've never played it, but everyone
I love the
raves
series. I love the series. I haven't played this one on the hardest level, and it's purely for a platinum, and it's fucking me up. Like
the first one,
I'm rushing
you will
into
only
it.
get on PC these days, I think. But the first one is an amazing game. It's
and then two deviated from the series massively, and then the third one, which is Inquisition, was the one I'm replaying. It's 6 years old. It's 5-6 years old. But it's back. It's more in line with the first style. It's good. I picked up Tomb Raider as a PS Plus game, so I was like, fuck it, it's time to play it. I played the first one. I got 2 and 3 as PS Plus games, so I was like, sweet, I'm going to play it. And I got halfway through. Well, I got through the prologue and then the first mission, which is essentially the first like tomb you discover.
Yep.
And Lara Croft. So Lara Croft is an archaeologist. And you'd think as an archaeologist, your job would be to bring the past into the modern day. You discover things. You would very carefully unearth them from the eons of dust that has created them into, fossils.
Like Jurassic Park at the start with the fucking paintbrushes.
Yeah, 100%. That is what I think of. They're
makeup
paleontologists,
brushes.
but when you think of archaeologists, you think the same thing. What does Lara Croft do? She throws some fucking dynamite and some gunshots into, whatever, and basically blows up this ancient tomb. She's a really shitty archaeologist. So it made me think, which video game characters do we love who are actually really bad at their day job? So Lara Croft's day job is an archaeologist, but she's really bad at it because by the end of this first level,
she's basically a Tomb Raider.
No,
she's a Tomb Raider.
Not a girl, she's a fucking Tomb Raider.
Well, no, she claims she's an archaeologist.
Yeah, fair enough.
But she shoots
the movie.
She shoots a whole bunch of shit down that are hanging. She breaks through a bunch of walls unceremoniously. At one point, I think I kicked a skeleton, like just walking past it. I definitely kicked it. And then I end up flooding this entire tomb and releasing the waters which go over a cliff. How many relics would have been lost to the ether?
To reveal the relic that you are looking for.
No, just I was running away from some bad Russian dudes. Like,
Okay.
classic.
Yeah.
So it was like, made me think, like, what video game characters can we think of that have day jobs, but they're really shitty at? So for my first one, it was Lara Croft as an archaeologist is really bad at it because she blows up the tomb she's meant to be preserving.
Okay, so can we just focus in on that little bit for a minute? I won't carry on for this too long because you guys know my history in this. But the one thing that Pete just mentioned there as well. So Tom, I know exactly the scene that you're talking about in that game, and completely agree on that. And then Pete's talking about also certain sections in those games where she'll go into a tomb where, and god damn, this is fucking pop culture video games, and I can't believe we're breaking it down this much. But she'll go in there for a specific thing, and in these current games, it's to read some sort of book or to gain some sort of knowledge to give her an extra skill. Yep. But the amount of knowledge and little things that she destroys on the way in this single tomb area to get to this singular goal, some of this stuff is so culturally significant to the wider knowledge of understanding of people of an era and people of an area, as well as an era of that area's history, is so infuriating. And just watching these things that just get, once again, washed away or blown away or crushed or crumbled, and you go, you know, that little shiny thing up there on the pedestal is not the thing that I'm actually interested in looking at. I want to have a look at this warrior skeleton that's down here that's in full armor, but he's just got his skeleton behind him and weapons and things like that. And it's like, that's the thing that will grow the understanding of the culture, not your little fucking thing that you want to get up there. It
reminds me of Raiders of the Lost Ark, where it's like, Indy really should have been focusing on the traps that they set up and how they set up those mechanical traps. But instead, he's looking at the gold idol on the pedestal going,
I didn't shut the holy
I think I can replace this with a sandbag. I think that's about the same weight. But really, he should have just been looking at how the fuck
technology that grew.
Yeah, how did they get that technology
traps
to spike a dude through the fucking face? Like,
with light.
Yeah,
he puts it there. Yeah. Anyway, yes, I completely agree.
He does meet a 1,000-year-old dude or 2,000-year-old dude in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Not Raiders of the Lost Ark, sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't blink an eye. Last Crusade.
Last Crusade.
It's all right. He discovers Alien in that movie that we shall not talk about. But,
no, that's not an indie movie. Don't ever mention that again, or I shall uppercut you in the kidney.
Good luck finding my kidney
through the rectum.
I sold that years ago. How do you think I afford all these craft beers?
PlayStation 5, yeah. What did you have, Dan? You said that you thought it was a great idea. This whole comic.
Of course,
book,
it's a great idea. It's my idea.
Video game protagonists who are shithouse at their day job.
Yeah, it's really funny because one of the first ones that came to me too was Mario and how shitty a plumber he is.
I'm glad that we all had that idea. Yeah.
Well, continue.
Well, he jumps into the pipe and then he leaves a bunch of corpses in the pipe when he flattens them, which is obviously going to pile up and cause a blockage in the pipe, which means you need to call...
That's where you went with that?
You need to call a plumber. But then the plumber's already been in the pipes, put all these dead bodies in, so he's just really rorting you.
The fucker runs around a cartoon universe saving peaches from mortal danger. When he's not doing that, he's driving a fucking go-kart against all of his mortal enemies.
Also, he's very much an unlicensed doctor. He's very much an unlicensed doctor. At no point did he go to university and get that doctorate. Dr. Mario, he's just throwing pills willy-nilly at people. It is fucking chaos.
And then his brother wants to Twilight as a fucking spectral hunter. Yeah.
Ghostbuster with a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, exactly, with a vacuum cleaner on his back. And he's too fucking scared to even... This is what he wants to do, but he's too fucking shit scared in the corner to go and actually hunt the ghosts.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Terrible.
But I think my biggest thing is that he does squash a bunch of Goombas in those pipes, and they don't get cleaned up, and they would rot, and they would poison every water source that he ever comes in contact with. So he's actually a menace to society. Mario should be arrested.
He should be.
It's interesting.
The EPA should come down and be like, we want to investigate this man. And Mario should be like, yes, this man has no dick.
Until Dickless here shut down the power.
Just Luigi there going, yeah, Dickless here told us to shut down the power. And that's Mario saying, yes, this man has no dick.
Is that true? Yes, sir. This man has no
That's
dick.
the greatest crossover I think I've ever come up with in my brain. Wow.
Dan, what did you have? What was your
Luigi's
character?
Mansion.
Then my next one, because it's very relevant to what I'm playing at the moment, is Max Payne. So Max Payne starts his life in Max Payne 1 and 2 as a New York police officer, which he is either 1, very good at, or 2, very bad at, in which way you want to look at it. He is either very good in the fact that he is a uncorruptible cop in a very corruptible city, or fictional New York City, corruptible cop. But he is a very bad cop in the fact that he just shoots everybody. Literally,
like, he's
sounds like a real New York cop.
Yeah, he just like it did. There's just, and I understand most of them are coming after him, but there's a few there's no NPCs you can willingly talk to in the game. It all happens in cutscenes. Yes, he did lose his family to mob bosses and their goons, so he is very untrusting. And then you roll through to Max Payne 3, where he becomes a private security guard for a rich family in São Paulo in Brazil. And he is shockingly bad at that. The very first mission, you're on a rooftop party for a rich family overlooking the favelas, with the slums, basically. In the goons, this is on a penthouse, no doubt, in a skyrise. The goons make it all the way to the penthouse. They capture the wife of the guy that has hired you as the bodyguard for the family. You save her. The very next mission, you lose her because she is kidnapped by the same people. Then they progressively all get, basically the whole family through the timeline of the game get executed, and he is meant to be the bodyguard for all of these people. So he's a terrible cop in New York, and he's a terrible bodyguard in São Paulo. But all of the Max Payne games are fucking amazing games, and
I've never played any of them.
My God, man.
Max Payne 3 isn't he like I've only ever seen like images or like little gameplay things. I remember when it came out, because I was working at EB at the time, but he was done. He was burnt out. Definitely done with the cop life. He was probably a little bit borderline alcoholic. Like,
no, not borderline. No. He is absolutely pain pill popping alcoholic. Like you see the cutscenes in his apartment, and there's literally empty cases of Scotch bottles.
So it goes to show that he would be a terrible bodyguard because he's fucking high all the time.
And that's the thing that it actually goes into when you do these scenes. It actually plays it out like, oh, fuck, I was here drinking and 3/4 cut when these guys walk through the door. Like, it does play it out. It does justify how bad he is at this bodyguarding. But once the shit goes south, oh man, you want Max Payne on your side, because
by the looks of it, he'll absolutely destroy everyone
because he's badass.
Pete, you need to do yourself a favor and buy Max Payne 3 on Steam, because it is undoubtedly one of the most satisfying third-person shooters ever made. Like, you will take people out and you will want to walk up to them and put an extra bullet in them just to make sure they're dead, and then just walk on to the next scene. And it is the sound design and the actual gameplay elements of this game is absolutely amazing. The voiceovers, Max never stops talking. You never stop hearing his internal dialogue. And He is absolutely self-hating because he knows that he is an absolute complete failure in life and has failed at everything. That's why he was absolutely perfect for this list, because he has failed at everything he's tried to be. He's failed as a cop. He's failed as a husband because she gets killed by the mob. He has failed as a father because his daughter gets killed by the mob. And in third game, he failed as a bodyguard because 3/4 of the family that he is hired to protect get taken out.
Executed.
One goes out A-team style where they stack him up in tires and pour petrol in the tires and light the petrol on fire. And that's literally how he goes out. So that it's a dark game. It's a game about depression.
We were just going to have a little bit of fun, but fuck, shit got
we're
real.
still having fun. No, this is fun.
Thursday is Are You Okay Day, so...
No, well, I mean, you're talking about people that are bad at their games within video games, bad at their jobs within video games, and Max Payne is one of the worst at every single one of the jobs. Every single one of the jobs he's been hired at. So yeah.
Pete, you had one, didn't you?
I did. It'll be the first and only game I ever play on this PC, because I'm looking at upgrading, and I spent a stupid amount of money on it, mainly for video editing, and I'm about to have to upgrade it again because it's like 5 years old already.
I guarantee if you buy Max Payne 3, you will play it start to finish from like in one sitting. And I mean, it's probably a 10 or 12 hour game.
Yeah, okay.
It's a good chunk. It's linear, so you can't get lost. You can't get lost in doing extra bits and pieces. You'll get lost in finding all the golden gun parts, but they're not that hard to find. But it's an absolute driver. The storyline, the dialogue, everything that goes with this character, and you don't have to have played the first 2 games. It explains it all for you. It's an absolute beautiful, absolute masterpiece by Rockstar.
Yeah, okay. So my protagonist, who's absolutely shithouse at his day job, is Ivor from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and obviously it's a game I'm playing at the moment, so it's nice and front of mind. But he's supposed to be the Jarl of the Raven clan in about 3/4 of the game in the main storyline. Spoilers. I mean, the game's been out for ages now.
Yeah, I'm not up to that bit.
So Sigurd.
So that's why he said spoilers for this part of the game. If you listened.
Sigurd. Yep.
Sigurd. Yep. So he's the Jarl. He's terrible at being a Jarl too, because he spends the 2/3 of the game that he's in the game kidnapped and held hostage somewhere. But at some point, Ivor takes over as the Jarl, and he's never fucking there running the clan. I mean, occasionally you might raid with your clan.
Yep.
There might be 8 to 10 people in your clan raiding a monastery where you're not allowed to kill any of the Christians. But apart from that, the Jarl of the clan isn't leading the clan. He's not back at the clan. In fact, he's in another continent. He's now in fucking Ireland, running around by himself doing missions for English kings or Irish kings. Really. Like, he's the worst fucking clan master I have ever seen.
He's the ultimate procrastinator.
But he's not procrastinating. He's just doing his own thing.
He's
like,
avoiding his duties.
I'm the boss, and I don't give a fuck about those guys. Like, they can do whatever they're doing.
Yeah, change it to
every now and then
Assassin's
you pop back
Creed
to build
Shirker of Duties, and then you'll have the appropriate title, apparently.
Just every couple of months, I'll pop back and I'll upgrade that dude's house. So that fucker will leave me alone for a while, and I'll upgrade that dude's house next month, and that fucker will leave me. Oh, look, I'll get a new tattoo while I'm here. But apart from that, guys, I'm out. I'll catch you guys later. I got shit to do. He's the worst fucking king.
Yep.
Jarl.
Now that you've pointed that out, I definitely agree with you on that. He's not around. He delegates some of those
helicopter manager
out.
That one.
Yeah, delegate some of the duties out, and then they all sort of. He'd be one of those ones that want to
in fisticuffs with his 2AC, and then executes him as a result. So
I'm definitely not up to that point.
Yeah, he's a terrible Jarl.
I did have a couple of others that I'd thought of over the last couple of
honorable
hours.
mentions.
Honorable mentions. Kratos is a horrible actual god of war because he kills the rest of the pantheon. It's not necessarily like nothing in that job description said, please kill the rest of us. It was, please help the humans create war.
He conducted war against his own people, essentially.
Yeah, he basically took the role and took it to the next level, which he never should have done. So yeah, the original trilogy Kratos, I was given honorable mention for being a horrible God of War because he was never actually on his throne to listen to his people's pleas. I remember in God of War 2 when they were like, God of War, please help us. He was like, okay, I'll come down, but I'm more focused on fucking up Zeus because fuck that guy. On a similar vein, War from Darksiders, he gets tricked to the fuck. Like he never should have been on Earth in that time. He started the apocalypse without breaking the seventh seal. Like they all had the wool pulled over their eyes, having finished all of the Darksiders games. Now it's just they've all been kind of screwed over. But yeah, it's that was another one I had in the back of the mind that of someone who should have probably had a bit more foresight for what they should have been doing. And you guys may not agree with this one, but I'm going to throw it out there. The most recent Spider-Man game, he's a horrible journalist. Spider-Man's meant to be a
Didn't
photographer.
he at least put the camera in the web and then take a photo of himself as Spider-Man? Like
that's a bit of a
Peter Parker, get in here.
Parker, get in here. I want photos of Spider-Man. Don't give me nudes. Give me photos of Spider-Man. No. So he doesn't actually really work for the Daily Prophet in that game. But come on, Spider-Man's always worked for the Daily Prophet and taken photos of Spider-Man's, and they left that bit out. It kind of annoyed me a little bit. It's like I wanted to set up little camera traps, like because you did in the other Spider-Man games. But you know, I remember was it Ultimate Spider-Man? Yeah, in Ultimate Spider-Man, which was like the cell shaded one back on the GameCube and PS2.
That was a good one.
You used to like whip little cameras into corners and then take shots of you like fighting and then send them off to the Daily Prophet. But
if you want to go on that vein as well, he's also an absolute
fictional newspapers mixed up.
He's also an absolute shitty lab assistant as well because he can't help Doc Ock.
He allows Doc Ock to go crazy with fucking tentacle arms.
Yeah, exactly. He's not there enough of the time to help Doc Ock properly with his fucking experiment. So the dude goes fucking nutballs with AI in his fucking head.
Yeah.
So no, he's fucking shit house at most of the shit he does, as well as being Spider-Man most of the time.
The last one I had was Kyle Katarn, who is my favorite Jedi, by the way. Kyle Katarn's one of my favorite Jedis. But he left the Jedi Order to become a smuggler of sorts. At no point does he do any smuggling. He does not live up to that. Like there is no smuggling in any of those games, and I felt ripped off.
On that side of it, Dash Rendar is a smuggler too, and you don't do any smuggling in that game either. You do a lot of shit for the Rebel Alliance and a lot of killing and shooting and everything like that. So yes, the smugglers in the Star Wars universe are pretty crappy.
I think most of the protagonists in our video games are pretty crap at their job because it's kind of like, let's establish a backstory.
I think that's. I wouldn't say most. I think a good 50%. Let's say a good 50% because a lot of
John
them
Marston wasn't he a fucking rancher in Red Dead?
Pulled from fate. But I think John Marston was a decent rancher before he got.
He was a decent rancher. Yeah, I mean,
he did all those.
Doesn't do a whole lot of ranching while he's running around fucking.
I remember herding a lot of fucking cows, more cows than I wanted to herd within that fucking game, man. You want to call him a crappy rancher?
We're not talking RDR2. We're talking 1. All he does is wipe out the last of the bisons.
Well, this
was
might
a trophy.
This might be a very nice
Extinction
part
was the name of the trophy.
We can go to in the next episode. We can do a part 2, which video game characters that are very good at their day job. Because the first one that comes for me is BJ Blazkowicz as a Nazi killer because he's very good at that.
Yeah. I think on that note, we might end the episode at like an all-time record high, I might add.
No, this has nothing on that Endgame episode we did. That went for like 3.5 hours. We talked till the cows come home about that, but that was a truly magical moment.
Well, so in John Marston's vein, I think we're done talking until the cows come home.
We'll walk out the barn doors into the massive
saloon.
No, walk out the barn doors into the onslaught of Pinkerton fuckheads.
Yeah.
Sail our ship out under the seven seas. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Assassin's Creed 4. Sorry. Sing some sea shanties and just go off into the sunset.
No worries.
Thank you very much for listening.
It's been an absolute pleasure, everybody.
Yes.
Yes.
Bye.
Goodbye.
I'm going to hang up now.